Happy Monday, everybody. That's right. It's time for another week of Giant Slayer series. DoA here with Frodan. And I'm so sad, Dan, because this is the last week of the first season of Giant Slayer series. It was only supposed to be one day in the beginning before things got moved around a little bit. So we've got one day of group play, another final chance for some players to break into the top 8 and get to that final lobby tomorrow. But it does feel a bit bittersweet that this tournament is ending already.
That's right. Tonight is the final day of regulation play, but that shouldn't really make it any less exciting than what we've normally come to expect. This is the final chance for some of these players playing today before tomorrow's grand finale. So, it's going to be exciting to see who we can crown champion tomorrow, and who gets to sneak into the top 4 tonight because of that.
Yeah, there's a couple players that have a chance. In fact, I think pretty much everybody but Agon gets a chance to move in here. But before we get into that, we have to thank our sponsor. We have to thank juke.gg for sponsoring the Giant Slayer series. You guys are awesome. And the website is great, too. It's a great place to go to find pretty much every esport you know of and some that you may not. It's all in the same place. It's easy to find. It's easy to see schedules and VODs. It is honestly the site that esports needs if you want to go keep track of a lot of different games like people like Frodan and I do. So big thanks to them for sponsoring the tournament. And if you type !GSS in chat, you can get a link that will go to all of the players' streams and all of the info for the tournament. So if there's a particular player you want to watch tonight, !GSS in chat will get you there. So again, thanks to Juke for sponsoring.
That's right. I'm going to be using Juke tonight to help look at some of the games that are also going on around the carousel as we enter the lobbies.
Same here.
And it's just a great tool to keep track of multiple things. I know a lot of people who play TFT are huge fans, of course, of League of Legends. It shouldn't surprise you. And, with LCS and LEC and all these other leagues that are finishing up, perhaps, a little bit devoid of content. So you might be thinking, what other cool esports are out there? Make sure to check out Juke, and they'll let you know schedules and have all the streams pulled up.
Yep. Quick shout out to SK Telecom T1 winning LCK over in Korea. That's my team. And it used to be my tournament. So I'm very happy that my team is winning my old tournament. It's pretty. Yeah.
I have exactly one piece of merchandise from a Korean organization, and it's T1.
Nice.
T1 shirts and the bomber jacket.
That's all
really
you
cool.
need.
Yeah.
That's all you need, man. They're the best team in Korea, no doubt. No bias, of course, but they're the best. Yeah. So let's take a look at our format for Giant Slayer series. You guys should be pretty familiar with it by now, but in case you're not, we are in our final week of group play. A little bit different because we've got the finals tomorrow, but basically the players have had a chance to play a lot of different games over the last few weeks, earn points. As you can see on the right side, that is how much you get for each placement in each game, and that has led us to sort of breakdown of players that are either going to make it to tomorrow night to the final lobby or unfortunately go home. But the good news is that we have a little bit of something for everybody in our prize pool. That's right. First place does get 700, but we've spread it out a little bit. So at least if you come in 9th through 16th, you still get a little bit. You still get enough to, buy some RP, get some little legends, things like that, make you feel a little bit better. Because sometimes if you're doing poorly in a game, at least you have the emotes or the little legend to make you feel better, like raise your spirits. I think little legend is an anti-tilt mechanic in the game as far as I'm concerned, and I like that.
Well, there's only so much anti-tilt mechanics until the point where you just have to kind of build up the mental fortitude.
Yes, that is true. It can only take you so far.
It's going to be exciting to see, because it's really not too much about the money for a lot of these guys, even though, yes, the money is great. Obviously, everyone would love to have more of it, but really it's come down to a lot of the pride that I think people are playing for. You look at how tight some of this lobby standings are. Imagine being the person that finishes 9th by like 1 point if Soju and Fluffy get knocked out, for example. And it's entirely possible if Socks, Tien, and even Deis1k and Kiyoon, they're all within striking distance, and Khroen as well. It just really depends on how tonight's lobbies will shake out, and it's doable, but it's hard. For someone like Agon, it's extremely difficult, but not entirely impossible for him to make it to the top 8. But he would have to, I think, win out like every lobby.
I think he'd pretty much need to just win everything tonight, like 4 firsts in a row to have a chance to make it out. I think the KitingIsHard, Kiyoon, and Khroen are yeah, they're in the toughest spot where like they can make it in, but they really need to, I've heard top 3 every single game, which also would be very, very difficult. But we'll see. There's other players, like you mentioned, DeisIk, MismatchedSocks, Souless, TN. They can get in / stay in by just having a solid night. But it's going to be competitive. This is actually the night that I was looking forward to the most, honestly, because this is the opportunity, for people to really play as hard as they can and see if they can get in that top 8. You can see our lobby tonight, obviously, Agon, TN, Souless KitingIsHard, Kiyoon, MismatchedSocks, DeisIk, and Khroen. And then tomorrow, the finals. That's right. The top 8 scoring players over 3 weeks of regular play will advance to that finals lobby. And it's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, and we get to see the end of the B patch for 10.8, where they hot fixed Dark Stars and Star Guardian Sorcerers, much to the chagrin of DoA.
Yeah,
you love.
Don't get me started, man.
Sorcerers.
It's been an interesting patch. We were just talking about this before the cast, but it's been a struggle for me over the last couple weeks of the B patch. So I'm looking forward to Wednesday coming in. But yeah, I play. It's not like I only play Star Guardians. Just what I love to play the most. I have one account in Diamond that's only Star Guardians, Sorcerer stuff, and then I have another account in Diamond that I just play normally. So I do play the game normally sometimes. Good enough anyway. But it's been a lot more of like having to play the game normally. Like forcing Sorcerers, forcing Star Guardians is just not really an option with this patch for consistent results. So there is that.
I've seen some people try. And they have some middling success. It's definitely possible to have success with almost any composition. So I'm kind of on the other side of the boat. I actually do enjoy this patch. I do think Mech Infiltrator it's kind of silly that it's still so strong. And of course, I think Dark Stars are still overtuned, but all that stuff's getting nerfed in 10.9. I do agree that the one thing that I kind of wish did exist a little bit more was the flexibility to pivot if your main game plan didn't work. But it does seem a little committal. But speaking of committal, look at this carousel for lobby number 1, a super dense galaxy with a full item carousel to start things off.
That is crazy. And you can see just how far tiers have fallen down the priority list that DeisIk even grabs a Swordbreaker instead of a Chalice.
No Chalice taken.
Yeah, the Chalice stands alone. I think that kind of says all we need to say about the state of tier-based comps and sorcerers right now.
There's gotta be a composition that can utilize Chalice. I guess.
Oh well,
the Chalice is a Star Guardian Sorcerer start, and it's if you grab it early, you're gonna be uncontested.
Yeah.
And part of the hard part about playing Star Guardian Sorcerers, in my opinion, isn't just the units are weak. It's that your items are so much. You're like even more item dependent than you were before.
Yeah, very item dependent. You need to be uncontested, and then you need to have like just the right kind of lobby to hit top 4 as well.
Right.
Like it's still I would say a top 4 comp, but there's going to be it's more like a 3 or 4 or probably 5 or 6 comp rather than like a 2 through 4 comp like it was before.
Yeah, I think that you said something pretty well, which is that you have to align your expectations based off what's the power level, the ceiling of the power level of the comp.
Exactly.
And for many players here tonight, they have to be aiming for top 2.
Yeah.
For them to just go for a top 4 isn't really enough anymore. So perhaps that is what everyone's thinking about. Like, I need to be playing stuff that gets me into that top 2 so I can get 10 points, 8 points every single game and make a big charge for that top 8.
I think that's like a really, really good point to bring up actually tonight, because we're going to see players take chances that they wouldn't normally take probably, because like you said, you need to place high. You can't just top 4 anymore and count on yourself to make it. So we're going to see players like bomb out in weird ways in some of the lobbies, and it's going to seem like they're playing bad, but they're actually not. They're doing what they need to do, and what they need to do tonight is, like you said, take some chances and really go for those top 2 spots over something that just gets you into the top 4.
Right. So, will Agon once more try to play the Rebel reroll / bros to bang bros comp? It's going to be hard to say, right? Because like these are compositions that players truly have to believe that it puts them in the best competitive environment for making that top 2. That being said, there are a couple players that are within that zone where they feel pretty safe. Tien and Socks, I believe, if they just kind of, and Souless, if they just kind of have okay results, decent results, they're going to be into the top 8.
Right.
So that's kind of the dynamic that we'll be seeing tonight.
I've got 4 players on my list that I just have the note of do well next to them, as in all they need to do is have a solid night. And that's, like you mentioned, Deis1k, MismatchedSocks, Souless, and Tien. They're all in pretty good shape, and they just have to have a good, solid night to secure that top 8. Meanwhile, Khroen, KitingIsHard, and Kiyoon need to have a really good night. And Agon needs to have the best night anyone has ever had of TFT ever.
Yeah, the K's, Kiyoon, Kiting, and Khroen, and then Agon. So we're gonna stay on Kiyoon's POV just for a little bit here. But Kiyoon, he is a notorious mech infiltrator player on ladder. However, in tournament, he actually hasn't been playing mech infiltrator nearly as much as we expect him. And I kind of thought there was going to be some fireworks with delicious Milk last week, because I was anticipating Kiyoon and Milk fighting for it, but Kiyoon just let Milk have it most games.
He just gave it up. He was threatening too. Like, I was on his stream before the broadcast last week, and he was saying, I'm going to fight you for it. But yeah, then he didn't play it at all last week. Only Mech Infiltrator back on the 13th of April, but no Mech Infiltrator at all last week. So now on board with Tien, as I found a double blaster start. Always nice to see that early Lucian. And if you can find a chain vest, you can get that red buff on Lucian, which you and I were talking with Esports Law about this, and kind of feeling like red buff on Lucian, if you just slam that early, it's a good way to keep your HP high.
Yeah, red buff, Giant Slayer, even Infinity. These are fantastic items to put onto Lucian early game to just get some board presence, and also to really start to snowball the victory. As much as people are kind of talking about the power of Dark Stars and Mech Infiltrator, or even some of these reroll compositions that are really powerful, I believe like Xeno and friends were like climbing to #1 on NA with it.
Yeah.
It's still totally viable to get there with to be able to play cybernetics and KO compositions. Just kind of win streak and try to go for it. You can play Brawler Blasters, which is excellent right now based off the buffs to Jinx recently. So I think there's a lot of ways we can go about it with this kind of opening from Tien.
Like, cybernetics continues to surprise me with just like how strong it is when people play it. It's kind of like the sleeper hit of this patch right now. I was talking to Gunmay a little bit earlier today, actually, and I asked him if he still thought Mech Infiltrator was the strongest comp in the meta, and he said that the only comp he thought that could really contest it, honestly, was cybernetics, which I was kind of surprised about. But if it does hit, if you do get that buff to Aurelia, it's really hard to stop.
Yeah, Aurelia as a 2-star is just very, very powerful, but you have to have at least some proper itemization. Part of what makes cybernetics good is that you don't have to have the best items, and when you're playing compositions like Mech Infiltrator, you are fairly item dependent to make it very good. Otherwise, it's just kind of average. Yeah, if you don't believe me, just try to watch all my Mech Infiltrator games.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, that's the thing. Like,
awesome items all the time.
You look at a demo spat, right? And if Mech Infiltrator gets a demo spat on Kaisa, that's like a #1 comp, possibly. If they only have like Morel and Amicon, then it's maybe like a top 4, probably, if it's uncontested, So it is funny how like a single item can mean the difference in terms of like the ceiling that your composition can reach in a lobby in most cases.
Yeah, and that's even assuming that you have the proper mech items too. And with a carousel opening with full items, that just slows your mech down way more than you expect it to, right? We saw like Ludens and Shroud of Stillness, and like these are not the items you want if you're going to be forcing a reroll composition that needs very specific itemization.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if we saw like a Bramble Vest or a Titan's Resolve on the opening carousel, and I don't recall. Maybe we did, but we'll see. So everybody's hitting their level 5 right now. Tien gets at Darius 2, and now on board with Khroen, who's going Slash Bros, it looks like. He did find the Zerat portal in the opening carousel. Does have the Rage Blade for Master Yi. Has a Chain Vest, so he's got part of the Titan Resolve or part of the Bramble Vest.
This is pretty interesting. It seems to me that Khroen is leaning towards playing the Rebel reroll comp, the Slash Bros. And I think that this Galaxy is probably the worst to play this composition. So it's particularly interesting to me that he is going for it. And perhaps because it's so unconventional, it might work out for him. because statistically, I did kind of a deep dive last week on the performance of this composition because I was very intrigued. And its average placing was 2 placings lower for Super Dense Galaxy based off top players' performance with it than for the other galaxies. So that's massive. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Because that's and you can see why, right? Because you'll in a composition that has to sit at a relatively low level and find 3 stars, you're going to have people getting their higher tier synergies online before you get your 3 stars online as far as strength goes. So yeah, I mean, he is opening himself up to some risk. He has like all the synergies you would hope for, right, early on, but he needs a Yi2, needs the Yasuo 2, needs things like the GA on Yasuo. So we'll see how long this lasts. This might be a rough one.
Yeah, I mean, he could just easily be playing stuff to play strongest board as well. Like, he has a Rage Blade, which is extremely flexible. He could pick up Mordekaiser and Lucian and maybe Karma and stay open to all of those things to play Dark Stars and Cybernetics, maybe even a Kale-based composition. But the whole point is Khroen is staying open right now, and he finds a pretty weak shot. These are a lot of 3 costs that he doesn't want to play long term, so he's still not finding direction. And if this continues, I might anticipate Khroen rolling down at 3-2 almost all the way. Because in Super Dense Galaxy, you get even less time to get online than usual because of that extra damage that's being generated from all those units that are on board.
Right. And like before, I wouldn't be too scared being at 78 HP. But right now in this meta with this comp down in the 70s already, I might be a little bit concerned.
Yeah, well, your Agon's in the 50s.
Yeah, well, that would concern me even more, definitely.
Wow.
I wonder what Agon's playing actually. I'm gonna check. Via juke.gg, I can find out what Agon is playing right now. There you go.
Excellent.
He is currently let's see. That's weird. 1 second. I clicked on the wrong thing.
Okay.
I'll find
very
it.
crucially, Khroen hits a 2-star unit on his Zerat portal. And it's important to do that because you really need to get the Zerat portal as much life as possible.
Yeah.
And at 2 stars, it gains 500 HP, which is massive. But yeah, we're gonna hop onto Agon's POV. DoA's requested it, and Agon looks like he's leaning towards Mech Infiltrator.
Well, he had when I looked at his screen a few moments ago, he had Slash Bros out there, and you can kind of see the remnants of that. But now maybe trying to pivot over to Mech Infiltrator. Either way, it's been a really rough early game for him. Not really finding a lot of 2 stars, not really finding a direction yet. So
yeah,
Agon looking a little bit lost.
Well, part of it is that he ecoed up so much. In contrast, other people have 20 gold of interest.
Yeah, let's swap to like one of the top 4 and see like what Kiyoon or Deis1k is doing right now.
Well, because Agon here, I actually think Agon's in a really interesting position because I think he's forced to roll down here, and I want to see what he's going to find as his direction. Because I think this right here, this moment right here, is when a lot of players completely differ in philosophy, and it is so interesting to like watch players debate about what's optimal here. Agon's not even necessarily going to roll. He's actually just going to pre-level.
That seems so risky being down at 45 HP already.
Well, I anticipate him leveling here and placing something in the last second.
You would think so.
I would be shocked.
He can stay above 50. Like
he is. Wow, he is committed to losing. He really, 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 really wants to lose.
Wow.
To keep the losing streak going.
I guess so, but man, like he's putting himself in a place where he's going to need to win like literally every round to stay relevant to the game from here on out. It's an extraordinarily risky place to be because he's not losing these lightly either. He's losing these pretty hard. And so he's taking a lot of HP damage, down to 36 already, basically down to like 3 lives remaining in the game. Maybe 4 if he's lucky because we're so early. It's only 3-2, I guess, but still.
What's even more interesting to me is that if he was going to go for this, he could at least like level before he hits 3-3, so he gets level 6 shop, but he gets level 5 shop. I think Agon is so damaged that this looks like to me that Agon is almost going to forfeit the game. I don't know exactly how he can really get a rebound that can stabilize him in time. This is extremely bad for him right now.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out who Ono Spaghettio is in the lobby. I'm like going back and forth trying to match the names, see who's missing. I guess it'd be KitingIsHard. Is Ono Spaghettio tonight?
It could be. There's a lot of players, they have multiple accounts that they can play on, and sometimes players have fun. They like mess around and have accounts that are named specifically to troll people, or they just have different accounts to try and climb and test other compositions. But yeah, it does look like Kiting is playing the Spaghettio.
Yeah.
And sometimes people just have a lot of RP that they just want to spend.
Yeah, why not? Sometimes you just want to spend to change the name, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, so back to the carousel now. Ooh, defensive item carousel. That is a lot of chain vests to go around. Interesting.
Yeah. And well, I kind of want to see how Agon goes about this, because I am very confident that he is going to roll down like mad. So I do kind of want to just see it for one more round here and see how Agon's going about it. Because if he's not going to roll after all of this, then what is he saving all his gold for? He's at like 80
I don't know.
gold.
Yeah, if he doesn't roll here, then I think despondency is set in. I think things are sad. 85 gold, finds a Lux 3 in the shop. No, flips it over. Lux 2 rather in the shop, that was. He's got to roll. All right.
Kaisa, Shaco.
Yeah, okay. He's finding pieces. There's the Annie. He's got the mech online. Immediately swapping things over. Using the hotkey to put things in just to make sure he gets it on the board right now. There's a Lux. But yeah, he's got Mech Infiltrator online. 50 gold remaining. But not really. Oh, he didn't get all the items on the mech either. Did he? Oh, he just barely got the Bramble Vest in there in time. Wow, that was close. Because once the mech forms, you can't put items on it for the round.
Yeah, so he got the mech, but is this too low of an HP for him to make a deep run to the top? I think he's going to stabilize because he hit the Fizz, and that's the most important thing of it.
So with the mech nerfs that came out in the B patch, the tier 1 mech actually has like a little more HP than it did before. So the tier 1 mech is like a little bit buffed, but yeah, he's gonna need more items over time. There's a Shaco too. That always feels good.
Yep.
Buying the Fizz, or not the Fizz, buying the Vel'Koz, yeah, to go over to Sorcerer with the Vel'Koz over the Lux. So deciding he wants to just try to make up for the lack of CC, which is ideally pure damage for him. Oh no.
Oh, this is great. Like Agon, like specifically looking at Kiyoon to see if he's going to pivot into mech. So one of the hard things about playing Mech Infiltrator, which in the end, I actually don't hate Mech Infiltrator for Super Dex Galaxy. I think that it's surprisingly effective on it. But you do take a lot of damage, and you have to be willing to go to really low life. And I was worried that Agon wasn't going to find direction on his roll down, but it seemed like he was gearing up for that Kaisa for a long time because he had a 2-star.
You are taking a big chance because there's no guarantee that at 10% you're going to find that Fizz, right? Like that is a low percentage to find the Fizz.
Right, and that's why he's safe to like, what, 80 gold or so? But it seems like he's stabilized, and now he's going to, if he can 2-star the other mechs, Fizz and Rumble and Eddie, and get to a level 6 mech, that's going to make a massive difference here.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like yep, looks
Kiyoon
like
on the mech as well.
It is going to be contested.
This is excellent. No. We finally get to see it. But poor Agon, like the difference is 44 health. And if you could choose to be one player or the other, I would choose the guy with more health over the person that has the slight, like the optimal items. And I'm just going to air quote that because you don't really want Zeeks in that composition all the time.
Yeah, for sure. There's Rumble too. All right. So he could make like a Chalice on Kaisa or something if he wants. He's already got the QSS on the mech. There's another Kaisa.
Yeah.
Rolling down again. He's got to kind of what do you think about this? In this situation, do you feel like he's under pressure to kind of roll down earlier to try to find things before his mech opponent? I feel like you kind of are incentivized to roll down earlier than you would normally.
This is definitely one of those situations where experience rules all. You need to like know when to roll and when not to when you're at low HP.
Sure.
And if you aren't going to put in the time to learn when to do it, you're gonna fail a lot the first time you try it and you don't high roll. Because Agon isn't high rolling and he's also contesting.
Yeah.
Or being contested rather. So
On a win
this
streak
is
now,
a very deliberate plan by him to try and like go to low life so he can get the right items.
Yeah.
But you know, Kiyoon is still winning, and he still managed to build a Brainwell Vest and QSS anyways. So Kiyoon, I would rep 10 out of 10 times being Kiyoon's position, but I think both these players can still make a charge for the top 4 here.
Yeah. I mean, Agon did just beat D6, so he beats the lobby leader with a Mech Infiltrator. Seems like a little bit better items on Kaisa at the moment anyway for Kiyoon. But at least maybe he feels like he's put himself in a chance to get that top 4. I don't know. But again, like we talked about, he needs to win. But, you know, this is kind of what we spoke about earlier, where Agon is the type of player that needs first places. He's first place or bust tonight, basically. So taking a chance like this, going all the way down, you know, finding the mech a little bit early, getting the win streak going, like this is what he kind of needs to do.
Yep. Meanwhile, Socks found the Jinx. Looks like he is leaning towards some kind of Brawler Blasters or perhaps Rebels, all on the table.
Yep. Caitlyn in there as well with a bunch of items. Those kind of look like Jhin items, but those could end up on a blaster later. Although Runin's a little bit redundant on blaster comps. All right, and we're gonna go over to KitingIsHard to see what he's up to. He's going for the Chrono Kale composition. Looks like. Not really great items on Kale yet, but he did find an Aurelia that he's powering up. So I suppose you could swap over to Cybernetics later if you wanted to, if the Kale items don't come through.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what's going through his mind right now because he hasn't found Rageblade, hasn't found any bows except for a Giant Slayer. And it seems like he's going to be transitioning for that Cybernetics game plan. And he's going to be just jamming this Redemption, which I think is a good call because Redemption is very quickly rising up my own tier list. I know Kiting lost here, but I don't think that was a wrong call because Redemption is extremely powerful in Cybernetics when you can get that big wide heal. Right. It's just that it seems like he's going up against Souless, who has found his Xerath as a power spike. Which is tough to beat.
Oh, Xerath with the bow. It's the kind of champion item combination you want to go for. Souless immediately grabs it. He has been playing a ton of Dark Stars.
So big for Souless, who is the lowest HP. And Souless is at 100% tournament victory so far in Teamfight Tactics Galaxies Set 3. And he's been very humble about it. I don't think I've heard him bring it up one time. So, you know, he really wants to keep that streak going, though, even though I know he's been quite shy about talking about it.
Yeah. Not shy about other things, but maybe that. Let's take a look at what Souless is up to here. As we know he is playing Darkstar, has a 7 Darkstar online now, as he picked up the Xerath. Had a Rageblade waiting to be made, too. And a Deathcap finds the Lulu as well. Yeah, why not put in 2 Xerath? Seriously. It's not bad. It's basically like the evolution of the put in 2 Jins, you know?
Yes. Xerath 1 still puts out a lot of damage, and you just gotta remember that the Dark Stars buff each other, so when everybody dies, Xerath will have the power of a Xerath 2, and then some. And
it's just so fragile at 1 star.
He is fragile. But, you know, don't worry about your health when everything's dead because you just keep nuking it. Oh, that misfortune hole was huge, but not enough.
Wow, yeah. Good items on the Jhin as well. Helped carry one of his Xeraths. His Xerath with items survived. But it is interesting how players have kind of moved their priorities over item-wise onto the Xerath. But I've been looking at like the top of the ladder, and I've been seeing a lot of players itemize Shaco again. So it's Shaco Xerath rather than Jhin Xerath, like it was originally when Xerath came out.
Yeah, you know, I feel like Shaco is kind of back to being like a really significant threat if you get the right items. It's just that he's no longer as insane as he used to be, where he like would one touch you and you die.
He's
but he's
definitely
still
good.
very much like a potential threat if you like leave him unchecked and he has the right itemization.
Mhm. Runs into mismatched socks on the Brawler Blaster comp, it looks like. Has a Cho'Gath 2 pretty early, so that feels good for him.
Yeah.
He'll come
Sox is gonna
through.
get blown up though.
Wow.
Soulless gonna make his charge back to the top 4 here. I love that Sox is holding 2 Master E's as if he's griefing Khroen.
You know, if you see somebody that's like right about to get that Master Yi 3 or that Nico 3 or something like that, it's not a bad idea to
Oh
grief them,
no.
you know, and hold on your bench.
Yeah, I mean I think that you know, doing that is something that's underexplored for competitive play right now. MismatchedSocks clearly has a lot of HP, so it's okay for him to as long as it's not hurting his eco, he can just hold that onto his bench and make it harder for Khroen.
It requires a lot of scouting. So it's kind of one of those more advanced techniques where you need to be really aware of what your opponent needs, because just holding a couple of units isn't going to really make a big difference in a lot of cases.
Right.
But if you notice someone, like you were saying, is just like one away from that 3-star, then hold all the ones you can, as long as you're not messing up your own economy.
Right. And it's entirely plausible that we just saw it as he picked it up because he just so happened to have it in his shop
Could
and he
be.
sold it immediately. But here we go. So, you know, Sox now has gotten to the stage where he's going to roll it down and try to find Jinx 2, Misfortune 2, Kale 2, but it's not likely that he's going to find it. So it's tough. I mean, he might find Malphite 2 before any
Hey,
of these. Oh, Kale 2,
Kale
though.
2.
He holds off on it.
Whoa, interesting. Wow, just take it, man. The game wants to give it to you. All right. So he does end
Yeah.
up with the Kale 2.
So you know the KL2 means that he's kind of committed to it, and he might have needed the gold to get to like Misfortune 2 or
Possibly.
Jinx 2.
Possibly. Wow, that's a Yasuo 3 on the other side for Khroen. He did find it.
Right.
Yep. Doesn't look like it ended up mattering, but some of those 3-stars are online. But we talked about this. If you look at how low Khroen's health is, this is one of those in super dense galaxies where everybody else is going to get their higher tier synergies online. And so even if you find those 3-stars, oftentimes you're losing a lot of HP to do it. And also, Agon looks like he's
Oh.
out. 8th place. Rough
Oh
start for
no.
Agon. And
Poor
that pretty
Agon.
much, I think that literally eliminates him from the ability to make the top 8.
Yeah, I think that means the end of Aegon's run, but he can still, you know, have redemption and finish out strong. Because I'm sure his results in Giant Slayer are not reflective of the player that he is. I
Totally.
think Aegon is a fantastic player. So hopefully he'll come back stronger for game number 2. In the
Yeah.
meantime, Sock's cleaning up more of the boards that he's encountering, and Brawler Blaster's kind of putting on display why it is a composition that many people are enjoying right now and using to climb the top challenger.
Right. A lot of top accounts, if you look at NA especially, are going to have a lot of Brawler Blaster in it.
Yeah. If you watch the Giant Slayers fight night, you see a couple of Brawler Blaster experts in the chat of MismatchedSocks watching them play it. I think
Yep.
Nardog, for example, he's a huge proponent for Brawler Blasters and has played it a lot. And it's fun to see Sox learn from some of these people, even though he is a top caliber player that's top ranked in the region.
Well, it's kind of interesting to see how it's evolved a little bit more, where it's one of those things where you can be going Brawler Blaster, but you can also move over into a Kale Chrono comp. You can even move over into like just pure Rebels as well, as we've seen that kind of come up on certain accounts that are fairly high up in the ladder. But it's one of those things that you get to from a very flexible, like early game, it seems like. It's kind of one of the advantages is that you can play it a bunch of different ways. Winning another one, Deis1k used to be on top of the lobby. Now he's way, way down in health.
Yeah, so you know we're entering the full item carousel, and I mean, quite candidly, Sox is almost at his peak power level as soon as he gets to Misfortune 2 and he can itemize her. But he's picking so late that all the good stuff are taken. The Seraphs, the GA. I guess you could pick Swordbreaker. That's actually a very underrated item right now, and I think Swordbreaker
Swordbreaker.
might be a low key, like good tier 2 item for Brawler Blasters because it stops like the
Yeah.
shakums and stuff from like every 1 out of every 3 battles or 4 battles it ends up becoming like the MVP, which makes sense since that's about the chance that it can proc.
I've actually really been liking Swordbreaker lately as a good item to play into the Space Jam comp as well, because if Darius can't attack, he can't ult. So it does kind of like stop some of that stuff cold too.
Yeah, and it makes sense for him to itemize for Cho'Gath since that is the 2-star unit. He could realistically never hit Misfortune 2 this entire game. So
Yep.
alas, we shall see. In the meantime, heading over to Khroen, who has the Master Yi at 2 stars and nothing more, but he hasn't rolled down fully. He's still keeping a lot of his gold in his back pocket, and it seems like he's still competitive. Even the matches that he's lost so far, it seems like he's been down to like 1 or 2 units, so he hasn't been bleeding as much HP.
Right.
And that's been great balancing act by Khroen, but again, just barely coming down to the wire.
Wow,
Oh my
he did it.
gosh! Are you serious?
Well, I mean, the Yasuo are really coming through and pretty perfect Master Yi items. So despite not having the 3-star, he's definitely got the item power anyway that he's looking for with that particular champ.
Exactly.
But,
this could be the best form of this composition, by the way. Giant Slayer and Zeke's is like, sorry, not Giant Slayer. Guardian Angel and Zeke's is like actually been very powerful for Yasuo if you've been seeing some of the people that itemize the Bang Bros. And because he has the super dense Galaxy Force of Nature, he actually does have the ability to go for like 4 Chrono without breaking up too much of his synergies. So this could end up working out really well for Khroen, even though we talked about the average placing for this composition does a lot worse on average on super dense Galaxy.
Well, I mean, you're right. It's definitely one of those things as we see him, unfortunately, going down to Souless here. And is he dead? No, he's still alive. Yeah, but it's one of those things where you really need to know how to play the particular Galaxy, right? Where that's something that we saw like a tiny bit of in Rise of the Elements, where the elemental hexes did come into play to a lesser degree sometimes. But now where the entire game essentially changes with Galaxies, you really need to be able to play into them well. So interesting to see this working as well as it is. But like you said, he's taking advantage of it by going for that 4 Chrono a little bit earlier than you see, because oftentimes this comp doesn't get to level 8 because it's it rolls so much at 5.
Yeah, well, tough breaks for Khroen. He's rolling a ton of gold and still not finding Master Yi. He did the buyout of the shop where he buys all the 3-cost units, finds another Yi finally.
All right.
And I actually like this approach from Khroen. He's acknowledging that he doesn't know if he has the speed to roll down nearly as quickly as the other people.
That's definitely me in my games. Get that boomer APM, you know.
Yeah. And so he's rolling all the way down now. So he just rolled a little bit of his gold, but he still needs to find 3 Master Yis. Otherwise, he's toast.
Wow. Decides to go the Ezreal 2 in just to maintain that chrono.
Oh,
that is so rough, though. Absolutely not finding the Master Yi 3.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see how he does against TN. TN on his last life, but he has the MF2 with double Seraphs and Shojins.
Holy crap.
That MF is going to just be chain casting like crazy and crushes Khroen. Yeah, you can see kind of the smile on his face. He's like, all right, well, can't prepare for that.
I didn't really have high expectations for this composition. 5th is honestly better than I thought it might have done based off the opening, but it looks like Khroen managed to salvage a 5th. Souless out in 4th. So we have a Mech Infiltrator player with Kiyoon. We have the Brawler Blasters in 2nd with MismatchedSocks, and Tien holding on with that mega carry Misfortune, trying to see if he can use that to get back into the game here.
Right.
Oof.
Ooh, takes the MF. Yep, Darkstar MF is going to be the play, apparently. Because he got that Darkstar spatula in Mech Infiltrator.
Right.
But because of Super Dense, he actually has enough room to add that in. So it's just kind of that little extra thing that might make the difference.
And it's huge. Like, it helps give the Valkyrie buff to the Kaisa.
Right.
Oh, Misfortune ults before the mech pops. And so this should give room for the mech to just wreak damage because the Misfortune won't ult for a while. And now, no Demolitionist effect, though.
MF got one last ultimate off, and that was all you needed.
Yeah.
All right.
Super close.
So let's see. So an Echo 2 would obviously be pretty helpful here. He's got some unfortunate items, honestly. Star Guardian Bangle, not that useful. Dark Star, honestly, he's using it, but it's not that great.
There we go.
Oh, finds a Kaisa 3, though. That's a big moment. But no demo spat means he might struggle taking top 1.
It actually really comes down to how well the positioning is. Oh, no. Kiyoon messed up. He wanted to go and lean the mech a little bit more to the right to catch the Misfortune. But the Misfortune moved at the last second. This was an excellent move by MismatchedSocks. But the Kaisa blows everything up. Misfortune wakes up and immediately ults, and Jinx has to try to do as much damage as possible. But I don't think this is going to be enough here. Kiyoon should crush this fight.
Yep, no problem. MismatchedSocks being dealt some damage. And this was even a semi-contested mech infiltrator. Wow, all right, GA.
Oh my god, a Guardian Angel.
Dude. Is he going to get it? Of course he's going to get it. He started way closer than that. Goes for the Trap Claw.
Oh my goodness.
Really?
Interesting. I'm kind of surprised Kiyoon didn't go for the Guardian Angel there, but
yeah.
Just because the GA feels like it's good to
second thought
to keep your front lines occupied. Like it is important because positioning matters a lot, and units can stall out with their AI while trying to track things. So,
And GA actually would have been really nice on Shaco 3. Obviously, his Kaisa and his mech are full.
But you know what? The Trap Claw. So the one thing that it feels like Kiyoon is centered on is Misfortune. He actually has the Misfortune in with the Dark Star to deny it from MismatchedSocks, and also Trap Claw is great versus Misfortune ult.
True.
So
MF like shoots backwards. That Shaco 3 doing damage, but he's definitely not the Shaco he used to be. This mech though. I don't know. Jinx pops the mech.
That's
a lot of damage coming
down.
in.
Because the Rumble has so much stats on it.
Right.
And this is a common problem that brawlers do run. The Brawler Blaster builds do run into, which is trying to bring it across the finish line. They do such a good job getting to like the top 3, top 2. They do struggle to close it out without like a decisive power spike like Misfortune and Jinx hitting like their final forms. In this case, Socks has a great composition, but can he hold up to the mech infiltrator? And he's positioning like fairly well in the sense that he's protecting his carries from the infiltrators, but this doesn't seem like enough.
Infiltrators will jump past and ideally ignore like the MF and all that, but without the MF too, it's going to be a little bit tricky to win. Good MF ult though.
Yeah.
Oh, that might.
This might be able to do it actually.
Oh, the Jinx is in the middle of everything. That MF needs like an insane ult right now, but not gonna. Oh, he does get it off. Whoa! All right.
Very nice.
There you go. Okay, that was close.
Okay. This Shroud of Stillness might subtly be like one of the better things that Socks to get, but it does require correct positioning. The longer he can stall out Kaisa and the mech from being able to use their ability, the better. And Kiyoon didn't really get too much out of it. He got Giant Slayer, which is pretty forgettable. It's mediocre at best, I'd say. Unless I'm missing something and it's like secretly OP on Shaco or something.
I mean, I suppose it does help Shaco burn through people faster, but yeah, probably not the greatest item for the particular comp. Can he use the Nikos for anything? I suppose.
Yes. The moment he finds the Misfortune now, he's in business. He needs to find MF. He's so desperate for one. Or another
Jinx 3 as
well.
well.
It's so close.
Yeah, he's one Jinx away now. Huh. All right. Well, kind of the last life for MismatchedSocks. Has to maybe find a way to position this. You know, the tricky part for Kiyoon too is that he has no Demolitionist Spatula on his Kaisa. So he's lacking that stun that a lot of times kind of like wins it in the end for mech infiltrator players.
Yeah.
So
here we go.
The mech.
Oh, the people immediately jump in Misfortune. She goes for a pretty good ultimate, but so does Kiyoon. And these are a lot of units that survive for the Brawler Blaster players more than usual.
Yeah, and Jinx does go down. There's a knockup, but that did it. Whoa, Kiyoon taking game number 1. finding the win with Mech Infiltrator. And how many times have we seen it? Mech Infiltrator. And that was even slightly contested, but he made it happen.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for
Football, like,
Sox to
leaning
roll
forward.
so much and not find a second misfortune.
Yeah.
And he was also very close to a Jinx 3, which could have swung the battle. His positioning was really on point. He constantly surrounded Jinx to make sure that she didn't get swarmed immediately and she'd still be within a distance of the mech. And also the way he would like polarize Misfortune and Vi. So that way, Vi, when she would use her ability, would jump on the infiltrators that eventually would jump on Misfortune. It was really good stuff there from Sox and from Kiyoon overall. Very nice chess match back and forth in the final moments.
Yeah, so Kiyoon does come back, and just like 2 weeks ago, wins a game with Mech Infiltrator. Gets himself a start there. Let's take a look at the results after the first lobby. Obviously, Kiyoon with 10 points. MismatchedSocks with 8, and on from there. Agon, unfortunately, 8th place for him. So not going to have a real opportunity to make it to the finals tomorrow. If you look at the overall scores right now, trying to see KitingIsHard in a lot of trouble because he really needed to have a good result tonight across the board. So 7th place is going to hurt his chances quite a bit. Yeah, well, these are our overall results right now. So you can see a little bit of fluctuation here.
So the lowest ranked player that isn't playing tonight right now is Soju at 64 points.
Right.
So if you can rack up a series of outcomes that will put you at above 64, I believe that will make you safe. So if you're Kiyoon, who just got that big win, that was huge. If Kiyoon can repeat his performances just one time and maybe get top 4 a couple more times, then he'll be in.
Right.
So that was a really important moment for Kiyoon just now to land to that 48 range, because now he's within striking distance. If he can get 16 points across 3 games and tie Soju, that'll be like one of those things to watch as we progress through. It's very likely again Sox and Tien still stay in the top 8, but it was also possible if Tien bombs out and people like Deis1k climb up to maybe steal that from him.
Yep, Tien's the one that, or Tien and MismatchedSocks are the two that are kind of on the bubble the most, I suppose, where they have the pressure of like staying in that top 8. See if they can do it.
Yeah.
But another game, another Mech Infiltrator win.
Yeah, and you know, I think like it's pretty easy to look at that and just be like, well, Mech Infiltrator is really busted, and it's very, very strong. Like, I think Mech Infiltrator has a case to still be the best composition in the game right now.
Yeah.
Alongside perhaps Dark Stars. But you know, I really like the way Q navigated that, because it was an unusual start. It's a super dense galaxy. It's an all full item carousel, and he had things like the the Shroud of Stillness, right? And you just make do with what you can. And he was also contested. It wasn't like he got it for free either. So when those things happen, you have to be good to do well with it. Like, because you have another player who's also extremely talented at this game, Agon. And, you know, it's very easy. Both of them could have been holding hands to 7th and 8th. But Kiyoon got first. And I think that's a big difference maker in his experience and skill.
Yeah, and we're going to jump in with Kiyoon as we get our second lobby started. But, and all sparring gloves. Okay, well, that's a start.
What? Everyone just kind of like going after the same units here.
Everyone wants
kind of a troll. But at the same time, if you can get sparring gloves on a unit that you really want to start things off, you can just pick the best one cost unit.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you think about what the sparring gloves can kind of turn into, you could look at an Infinity Edge. QSS is another likely option. Thieves gloves, honestly, is maybe not that bad to slam early in the start.
Yeah, gloves is more of a Dark Star opening that kind of pivots to a cybernetics route if you end up getting like a bunch of cybernetics based items and you can go for Irelia. But a lot of the times Dark Stars can utilize gloves in a multitude of ways. You mentioned Thieves gloves, that's totally fine. Trap Claw is like becoming more important in the meta right now, and of course Infinity Edge and Last Whisper are still great offensive items.
I've started to really, really like Trap Claw because it does things like cancels MF ult if your MF hits someone with a Trap Claw and pops it. So there's some kind of like crazy stuff that you can do with Trap Claw that people are starting to get really good at.
But as you mentioned, QSS is pretty important if you're going to be using like the mech, or you're going to be,
Yes.
which like I'm sure if you're Kiyoon, you're immediately thinking about,
Yeah.
or if you're like playing a Xerath based composition or Kale based composition. I personally love Glove a lot. I think there's actually no truly awful things that you can build with it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Almost every combination you can justify in some way.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think the one people might single out is maybe Cloak, but even that like can be very useful, especially in late game scenarios.
Do
So
you,
an
you mean the Shroud of
opportunity to build a
Stillness?
big two, okay, goes for it. So Static Shiv as well. What do you think about the rumors going around that Hyper Roll Static Shiv Xayah 3-star is like the new meta after the patch on Wednesday?
So the theory is that with patch 10.9 coming in, it's that they're nerfing a bunch of the vertical synergies because it felt like they were so powerful and rewarding at like getting 6 sorcerer or getting 6 dark star or getting 6 of anything would be so powerful that you would have to go for it. But the three synergy version of it, like a 3 dark star, was kind of useless. So it felt like pivoting wasn't really an option. You had to like all in. And
Right.
so if you like play like Xayah, the idea is that you're just like favoring a bunch of stats on the board, and you just want to like do a bunch of raw damage, and there's not too many things that can punish you. So people are theory crafting that like, oh, if I just like go for like Static Shiv, which just outputs ungodly amounts of damage with Xayah early game,
Mhm.
maybe I can snowball that and go to the top 4. I'm not sure. I think it's funny to try it.
I think there's going to be a lot of fun experimenting with reroll like 3-star level 1 comps now. I'm actually really looking forward to the patch.
Yeah.
So Infinity Edge on Kai'Sa for Tien. Now, I feel it's important to mention that Tien rather did tell me that he was going to win a game with Star Guardians for me in this tournament, and he's running out of time. Like he got a second place once. That's close. I appreciate the effort, but really looking for that first Tien, and doesn't look like this is going to be a Star Guardians game. So I'm just
You can
saying,
remind
time's
him.
running out.
Should go in his chat and remind him because TN's streaming right now, so you could go ahead.
Yeah, I'll DM him
Passing,
during his game. I'll be like, "Hey, man, don't forget
yeah.
play the
Tien
play the
passed
worst comp."
both Jarvans, and he now found a Graves, and he has a Darius. This makes me think that he might try to go for the Celestial Pirate composition, featuring
Yes, Space
Darius and
Jam.
Jace, just slamming the Space Jam composition.
Yep. People have been calling it Space Jam off and on for like about 2 or 3 weeks now, and I think there's no reason to call it anything else. It's Darius was known for his dunking years ago already, so it makes sense that we're in space. We got Darius doing his dunk. It's Space Jam.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, not everybody is familiar with. Well, one, some people still don't know what Space Jam is. Maybe the Zoomers, but
Well, they got to get there.
they got to get there. But yeah, like the compositions started surfacing a few days ago. I played around with it some. Extremely fun.
Mhm.
Also, rather volatile. I actually am surprised that I feel like things line up. I get the early AP items for Darius. I get Darius too, and I'm not win streaking nearly as hard as I thought I'd be. And I think that's because most people are playing their strongest boards now,
Right.
and so you don't get to like run over people as easily. But I
Well, I
thought
think
like
part
if
of
I
it
hit
is
those things, I should be doing way better.
I think part of it is that Darius, in the end, Darius is still a supporting character. Like you need to have a strong front line to enable him to live long enough to start dunking, right? To soften up the front line to make it easier for him to get those resets. So a lot of people will just like slam a Darius 2 and be like, "There, Darius 2, I can do it." But without the front line to really kind of enable that, like we're seeing right now, you're gonna get stopped. But that is where you had like the Jace softening things up. Everything went pretty well, even though it is Lucian. Still
Wow.
wins it. That's how strong it is.
Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah.
You got 4 gold from that battle. That was sick.
Space Pirate, man. But like the funny thing is after the last patch when they raised Darius's HP, I think they upped his damage a little bit too in one of the recent patches. I might be misremembering that. But I remember saying like 2 or 3 weeks ago, is this finally going to be the Darius reset patch comp or reset comp patch? And it is. The prophecy has been fulfilled and the Space Jam is finally online. I'm happy to see it. I'm not happy to see it from 4 people in every lobby I play now, but I am still happy to see it.
You're truly a forerunner.
I'm a trendsetter.
Yeah, Tien had a difficult decision of whether or not he wanted to go for the sword or potentially a rod to try and maybe make Infinity Edge into a gauntlet. But if he does, he's kind of like committed to that composition.
Yeah,
The
then you're
sword
stuck.
made Guardian Angel and still stayed open. Meanwhile, we're hopping onto Deis1k's perspective, and it seems like he too also has that early Jace. And it's just good to get that Space Pirate online so that we can get your gold generation. Oh, hey, look who it is.
Oh, all right. Well, pirate versus pirate. And the thing is that lobbies can support multiple 2-star Darius because you do get a lot of strong early to mid game pirate comps. But it does make it hard to go full on, Space Jam then and go for the entire, Protector Celestial Darius comp if other people are running it too.
Yeah. I mean, Tien also has the option. I like that he actually didn't slam the Guardian Angel because he also has the opportunity just to go into Cybernetics and play double IE Aurelia.
True.
And I think that's way better. You can see that he's stacking the Cybernetics onto the board. So if I'm Deis1k, that's something to think about as you go on. Looks like Cybernetics will be contested as time goes on.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why this Darius-based early and mid game has become so popular is because you can use the items that are good on Jace and Darius to transition into a lot of different things. You mentioned cybernetics, but even certain items like like a Rage Blade or something like that aren't terrible on a Darius early, and you can use it to transition into something like Kale. So it's a very flexible opening. So there's like it's kind of like a joke as well, but there's legit like a lot of reasons to do it if you have the opportunity.
Yeah, I think so as well. Ooh, some more gold be picked up, and this is huge because Deis1k's on a losing streak, but he's trying to still collect gold. And if you're able to collect gold while lose streaking, at least 1 gold per round, that is kind of like you're winning, except you are losing health instead. But the economy stays the same because you're win streaking. The big difference between win streaking and lose streaking in a vacuum is that you get that extra gold for winning the round. But if you get like a gold for the space part, you kind of offset that. And the damage this early still hurts, but it's not nearly as important as it is in the future stages. So this is a pretty decent start here for Deis1k.
Yeah, finds 30 gold, so he's got a good amount of money going into 3-1 after this. As long as he doesn't lose to Krugs, which does happen every once in a while, but it should be okay. I always get nervous if it's all 1 stars on Krugs or on Terra Bursters, my bad. And this is actually a little bit
Brawlers
risky.
picked up. I think that Deis1k's really hoping potentially for some way to play Kale or Blasters.
Finds Lucian.
Wait, is he not going to beat the Krugs?
This is what I was afraid of. That's why I said whenever you have all 1 stars, he's going to lose to Krugs. Oh no!
Put the tier on. So I don't. Okay, fine. All right. He wasn't going to get anything off that, anyways.
That's so rough. Like only 1 stars.
He's gonna say he wants to surrender.
Yeah.
Get him out.
We've all been there. We've all been there, Deis1k. Don't worry.
I have never seen level 5 lose to Krugs. Oh, jeez.
Really?
I mean,
not that I've ever done that.
I guess you have.
I've seen it.
I haven't. So
possible. Trust me. Play enough Star Guardians games, and you'll have losses to Terror.
These aren't even bad units. He played like quality units. Jace.
You think that, but brawlers are super weak. Like brawlers don't do a lot of damage. So if they're all 1-star brawlers, they're just not going to be able to grind through like the Terror Bursters that keep healing. Especially his positioning was really kind of not the greatest as well, so they weren't focus firing anything.
I guess so. I don't
know. Was a very it was an overly optimistic Krug positioning round.
No.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He has no one to blame but himself.
We'll just pretend like no one saw that. Don't worry, Days. Moving on.
Oh no, we could talk about that for hours.
Yeah.
Proper Krug strategy, but yeah. Okay. Moving on to Khroen, who, as everybody in this lobby, has a space pirate start, but he's got the blasters going, and he's actually got some pretty decent Jinx items on that Graves. Has a Giant Slayer, Hand of Justice is going to be just a nice item to have. Not spectacular, but it's something.
This is early enough in the game where having a 1-star KO like this might change your entire game plan. It looked like he was leaning towards Brawler Blasters, like you said, but it's not unfounded to just try to pivot to KO because this KO could reasonably carry you all the way to end of stage 4, even as a 1-star unit.
Yeah.
Uh, Not ideal, obviously. You want to get her a 2-star, but she still is powerful. So if you put like Hand of Justice and you find a bow and make Rage Blade, I think this is entirely justified to pivot. You could put Giant Slayer onto, I don't know, like Lucian and play like a Cybernetics core into it for a while.
Hmm.
Not the best, obviously, like we said, but that can late game go on like Misfortune, and it's still totally reasonable.
Yeah. Very true. You don't want to get by the same token though. You worry a little bit about getting baited by that early forecast and be like, "Oh, this is it," you know.
And this is like a position that I think so many Cybernetics KO players have found themselves, which is like I have 4 different possible routes, and I don't know which one to go. And I think it's irresponsible to hope to overcommit right now. And yet at the same time, Khroen's in a position where, for his tournament's sake, he might need to commit and like hope that he hits because I think if you stay too open, unless you have like a really powerful core, like you just have 2-star units across the board,
Yeah.
you might end up bleeding a lot of HP. But that's where the KO1 comes in. She just does so much damage that Khroen's not even losing, despite the fact that he's holding so much gold on his bench right now.
Yeah, well, that's really it, isn't it? Right, where like you are open, but at the same time, you're like, I feel that I should commit to something, but I am on this crazy win streak, so I'm afraid to commit and change my board and possibly like give that up. But then, if you rely on it too long, then when you try to make that swap, you're going to be
Oh
behind
yeah,
and you're going to take more damage because it's later rounds. So
yeah.
it's a really tricky position to be in, and I hate being in this position in games. I do not envy Khroen at all because I think this is one of the toughest scenarios to play out of in TFT right now.
Yeah. I totally understand what you're saying. I personally love being in this position because I feel like that's truly where like my experience really starts to kick in. And then like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But like this is where it truly tests your flexibility and adaptation as a player, in my opinion. And
See,
I
I'm
think
there
Khroen's
with
like
has that
in
like
that in deep in the
decision
tank. He's like, what do I
paralysis.
even take? Both of these are kind of awkward right now.
Yeah, see, like there's some people out there like me that have that kind of like decision paralysis, right? Where you spend so much time thinking through every possibility that you don't make a choice.
Mhm. Yeah, and there's also like this really like weird opportunity to use this spatula in a unique way as well.
Yeah,
I
kind of heard
very
about that.
rarely seen people use demo KO, but every now and then when like someone kind of spikes the KO early and gets the demolition stuff going, it just kind of destroys me, and I'm like, wow, what the heck?
Mhm.
This thing's insane.
I suppose you've got some interesting options as well, where you can think about maybe doing something funky with Blade Master and making somebody into a Blade Master that wasn't
Yeah,
before.
6 Blade Masters.
Yeah, you could go up to 6 Blade Masters, or you could just, make another character that's not a Blade Master into a Blade Master for like a
Yeah,
sneaky, 3 Blade Master to support that Kale. Like
yeah.
Aurelia Kale, and like, what if Jinx was a Blade Master? That's pretty strong. Or
Okay.
Lucian even.
So Lucian, he sold his Shen. And if you
Yeah.
sold the Shen, it makes me feel like he's gonna eventually pivot off the Kale. And I think him holding off on the Morello on the Kale also leans towards that. He's also scouted and saw another player going Kale. Looks like Solus was? No, it's Dasik.
A Rage Blade and QSS on that Kale as well. So good items on the other Kale. Better than the items he has right now, unfortunately.
Right. So I think maybe he feels like it's going to be a little bit more contested. So he's picking up things like the Lucians and the Ezreal, holding on to Graves. So he does have the ability to go into 4 blasters still at the end.
Right. Yep, and there's some fun options you can do with that. You can give someone the Rebel Spatula possibly
Whew.
to do something with
Yeah.
MF Rebel or something like that, maybe. And all right, yeah, takes a win there over Soulless.
Yeah.
Could
Buying
also
into
just
this
find another
feels
spatula and get a
important.
Force of Nature as well. Like that's always an option when you're running into infiltrators that you're kind of secretly hoping for.
Right. Right. So we now reach the end of stage 3. This is the point. This is another moment for Khroen to kind of have a gut check here because he has to get to level 7. And when you're win streaking this hard, you usually try to protect the win streak.
Yeah.
But everybody's gonna try to power spike at 4-1 or rush to 8 at 4-3. And I think he has to evaluate each board and see, is it worth trying to protect my win streak, or now do I greed? Now do I get to the point where I just like wait and let myself lose some fights and try to just rush to 8 and see what I can do?
I'm thinking about picking up that Master Yi for a second. So the thoughts about Blade Masters are there, I suppose, but yeah, I like you said, it seems like it's better to get rid of that Kale at this point. Could make a Protector's Pat with what he has. That doesn't help him at all, obviously.
Well, he didn't
So I'm gonna
find
wait.
any items, it looks like.
Yeah, that's really rough.
Oh no, I
So
apologize. He found a single glove and made trap claw. So
right.
with that trap claw, it's again leaning towards a Jinx composition. He doesn't have the red buff, which is like the most important item in Brawler Blasters, I would say.
Yep.
You
I would
can,
definitely agree. Yeah.
you can probably talk me out of almost any other item, but red buff I think is non-negotiable. Socks finds the early Xerath, by the way.
Wow,
I
with the
did not
Rage Blade
notice
too.
until I saw. I'm like, what are these asteroids coming out of nowhere? I'm like, what the heck? He found a 1-star Xerath at level 7.
It's
That is
TFT's
very
newest champion,
fortunate for
Zareth.
Socks.
Yeah, let's take a look at what MismatchedSocks is up to right now. As you can see, just winning that round with the Zareth. And what does he got? So basically going Brawler, Sorcerer, Chrono, MismatchedSocks. Not the...
Oh yeah. I
This is
love this. You know what this is?
really
This is
cool.
I was looking for Kale and I found Xerath composition. It's
Yeah.
so fun to me. Yeah.
Well, this is something that that people have been talking about more and more, where you're just like you're saying, Xerath kind of just becomes your Kale substitute, where it's a champion that benefits a lot on attack speed items. It's a champion that can hard carry, does AoE damage in a lot of cases.
Yeah. And he's itemizing the
Static
Xerath
shoot.
now because he recognizes that's the carry. Go from the mana ramp where you not really a bug anymore, right? It clearly said that it's intended at this point.
Yep. It's that,
And the Xerath's gonna crush. Look how much damage it's putting out.
that's
Holy
crazy.
cow, that's a 1-star unit. 7,000 damage.
The tricky part is you really need to keep him safe. Xerath melts so fast under any pressure, but if you can keep him safe, and if you look at his positioning right now, it's pretty much perfect. It's going to be very, very hard for
Yeah.
anything to get to that Xerath. It can put out a lot of hurt for sure.
Yeah,
Famous
and
Brawler Xerath comp. Yep.
quite reasonably, he can just stay on this for a long time.
Yep.
Xerath is like Kale in the sense that, well, they almost use the same exact items interchangeably. They scale off of attack speed. And then the other thing is that Xerath 1 can just carry you the entire T of stage 4, even if you don't find a single Kale.
Right.
And you could just actually just play Xerath as a replacement to Kale 1-to-1.
Yeah. And you can do some funky tricks with Sorcerer as well, where you can get that online a little bit easier too with a lot of this. And the Aurelia, though,
Oh!
Xerath goes down. That's a big problem, and Aurelia is very, very scary. But oh,
Oh!
does he have enough? That
All
Vi.
players are mana reaved. The Frozen Heart stopping the Mordekaiser from attacking, but just barely enough from Tien. Wow.
Like I think actually Vi is one of the most underrated champions in TFT right now. She's secretly extremely strong, and I've got a feeling that there will be a time in this set where Vi comps will be like a real thing. Mark my words.
When you say Vi comps, do you mean
I'm
like
saying a comp where you...
she's the center person you itemize? Because
Yeah.
brawlers are very popular, and cybernetics have been very popular for a while as well.
Right, right. But I'm talking about a comp where Vi is your carry, or one of the carries anyway.
Interesting.
Possibly like a
Right.
secondary carry. Because
I
like
mean,
Vi 3 is insanely strong with items, but it's something that's relatively unexplored.
I believe from platinum all the way down to bronze or iron, Vi is the most popular unit in the game.
Doesn't surprise me.
Statistically.
She jumps
So
on carries, and that makes you feel like you're doing something.
yeah, and also just because like she's kind of awesome. Like who doesn't love Vi in their comp? It's pretty sick.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vi 3 can do a lot of damage, and she can survive a lot of punishment. So
What are those items on Malphite, by the way? Locket Rage Blade. Please tell me that this Malphite's just going to carry this. It's going to be the secondary carry of this battle. I would love to see that.
I mean, pretty epic Thieves Gloves roll for the Malphite for sure.
Oh, how fitting is it that we see Souless with the Xerath also at 1 star? Oh,
well,
the Xerath
two
just
Xeraths in. Yeah.
trying to 1v3. Wow, Frozen Heart, like low key, super powerful against Xerath. I wasn't really thinking about that as a way to stop Xerath from being high impact, but that was nice.
If you can get next to him, yeah.
Whoa.
Okay.
Jin, do we want to transition to 6 Darkstar? I don't know. He's going for 4 Sorcerer. This is a very interesting variation that you don't usually get to see. He's even looking like, what are the other sources I want? I love it. Impromptu decision making where it's like, do I go for this 3rd Darkstar buff or do I go for the 4 Sorcerer? These are the decisions that make TFT very fun to play.
It's exciting to see something that we haven't seen as much working well right now. And 4 Sorcerers. There's still the fragile nature of the Xerath that is the scariest thing about running this comp right now. But the infiltrators have a really hard time getting to him. Like the positioning is really what's making this work, you know?
Exactly. The positioning is so good. And there's a QSS. So even if there was a really good ability that could stop Xerath, he won't get stopped.
Yep. Yeah, if you find an early Xerath, it's a very legit comp to go for. And he did go for a fast 8 as well. He rolled all the way, or he spent all the way down to 20 gold to hit 8 quickly for the chance to add in that 4th Sorcerer for a temporary time, apparently. And also to find that Xerath too.
And
it's in the Lulu now.
Seems like he wants to go for a fast 9 at 5-2. And that's kind of rare to see with this kind of composition at this stage. But I think Socks has identified that like he can't very reasonably stay on this composition. He needs to find a way to scale up in power because he's going to very quickly drop off if he just stays like this while everyone else is powering up.
Well, you brought up a good point earlier where a 1-star Xerath with items can carry you through stage 4. But now that we're into stage 5, you're going to see more power spikes come through. Comps will like truly reach their caps during this next round. And that's the point where Xerath 1 just is probably not going to be quite enough anymore. So I think it's smart. He did go, he will go probably to fast 9. We'll see what's up. So on board with Souless now. Dark Stars as usual.
Yeah, so Souless has been look at those items. Wow, Lux taunting Xerath. In fact, Lux and Xerath want to be doing some Freaky Friday body swapping right now. But, Souless is going to crush this fight and win extremely convincingly against
Aurelia. Can't stop him.
Souless has been playing on new accounts and trying to get them the Challenger. Challenger has been more competitive than ever. This is quite possibly the most players that have played to try to get the Challenger because a competitive has been announced now. And they only have 100 slots. And yet Souless is starting new accounts and getting a Challenger in less than 30 games.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
Extremely impressive, but he's been doing it with one comp, DoA, and it's been Dark Stars.
Yep, and that can't last forever. I mean, we know he's a great player, you know, all around, but Dark Stars, like, come Wednesday, I don't know if you're going to be able to do the same thing.
I would hope that almost every composition can't just do the same thing because all of them are getting nerfed, but we'll see.
Yeah, some more than others, but it is interesting to see them bring down the power level on the top end, like you said, the vertical synergies, the 6s and stuff like that across the board. I do think it's going to open up a lot of really interesting composition options, so pretty psyched about it. And you know what? For now, though, Darkstar is 6 Darkstar is extremely good. Agon, oh no, on the verge of being eliminated in 8th again. It is nightmare land for poor Agon. It's been a rough tournament.
Poor Agon. Souless actually in a pretty interesting spot. He could totally justify rolling down to try to get for Xerath. First of all, he's counting, you know, who are the people that have Xerath, how many are left, but at the same time, the chances of hitting it are pretty low.
Yeah.
But if he loses another battle, then he's within that one life HP range. And That's tough. So I think Souless chooses to hold here. This is a really tricky spot that I think most people can kind of differ in opinion. I actually agree here with Souless, though. I don't think he can actually improve that much by rolling because the chances of him hitting 0-2 is pretty low.
Right. I mean, it's 6%. Yeah, you're just kind of
Yeah.
burning gold at this point. And oh no, Spaghetti-O, the Space Jam, not strong enough to beat the arguably strongest comp in the
Oh,
meta.
Socks is dead. The super
Socks
cool
gone 8th.
Xerath composition, Xerath Chrono, but didn't really pan out. And he
Yep.
gets 8th before Agon does. Oh no, the construct, the Xerath portal. It's overtime.
Oh, Xerath minion.
Kiyoon kills Agon. Oh, he's just barely
he's got
alive.
4
Oh,
HP.
jeez.
He's still alive. Like, how bad would
What?
it be to get
What?
eliminated by a Xerath minion?
What is this carousel? There's so many good things on it.
Oh, that's
Wait,
crazy.
is no one taking the Xerath?
GA, Zephyr, Morellos with the Xerath. There's an Ionic Spark. Like, everything is good on that carousel.
What is happening?
GA falls all the way that far down. That's crazy. Yeah. A race with Deis1k and Kiyoon. Kiyoon manages to grab it. But wow.
Yeah, so Khroen goes for the Zeeks. Remember, Khroen, we thought that he was open to cybernetics and Kale and blasters. So
yeah,
not exactly sure how he's shaping up. If you want to check it out, you can go ahead to Juked. In the meantime, Souless hitting 0-2. That is massive. Now he doesn't have to roll at all. He can actually just eco up to 9 if he's able to continue his win streak. And Souless is in a good position to win this game now.
it's going to be a pretty tight top 4. That's for sure.
Yeah, I can't overstate how important this 0-2 is. I think now Souless is like a front runner to win. But he's going against Kiyoon, who's also very strong.
Yeah, it's a really good mech. Xerath Portal is annoying. Luxalt hits Jin, but he's got the Trap Claw still, so he's okay. And that Xerath, like Xerath 2 just unlocks like God tier basically in a lot of these games. Although that said, yeah, it's enough. Okay. I was gonna
say. So if Kiyoon can't beat him, is it really up to Khroen? Because that means that Souless would have beaten almost everybody else in this lobby so far. Another Jin. He's at 7 Jins.
So close to Jin 3. Meanwhile, over in Camp Khroen, looks like it's going to be the Kale comp. So decided to stick with the Kale. We were wondering if he was going to pivot more to blasters. But does have the 4 Chrono with Kale and some pretty decent items in there.
Woo, I like it. The divide and conquer strategy.
Yeah, so 3 Celestial as well. I wonder if he can find a way to cheat in like a 4th or something like that, because that would really buff the Kale even more.
Yeah, I think that's purely what he's waiting for. He's trying to go to 9 and get that 4 Celestial in, like he said. He found the Celestial Orb, and looks like he has a chance of... JK.
No. All right, never mind.
Kale means Xerath. This is Kale.
Khroen kind of laughing. It's like, yeah, well, it was a fun comp while it lasted. I think you're right, though, where like maybe at level 9, you can find something. If he gets lucky and finds a Kale 3, that's another condition, I suppose.
I kind of digging this double Zeeks onto the Kale. Like Kale, part of what the hardest part is about playing Kale is getting her started, which is like once she's in motion, Kale is just this unstoppable force. But you need the Chrono and the Rage Blade to stack up, and you need her to get the ability off. Zeeks will help her start off with that plus attack speed bonus twice over. So that is a really nice boon.
New Zeeks is extremely good and definitely underutilized in the patch. People have not quite figured out how to make the best use of it. But stacking Zeeks, I think there are going to be comps that revolve around that type of thing, because it's still fairly easy to pick up belts as well. The only trouble is that a lot of times those swords, you're going to want to go to something else.
Yep. Here we go. 4 Celestials, the dream. So now Khroen can get stronger if he gets Lulu 2. He's still playing Kassadin 1 and Wukong 1, and that is a pretty big deal. If Kassadin dies without getting his disarm off, and if Wukong goes down without using his Cyclone ability, that's 2 potentially battle deciding abilities that might not activate. So
right.
Khroen is
more than just synergy dudes.
Yeah, Khroen has a lot of room to improve.
Yeah, which is exciting because he's already doing pretty well. Big GPL comes through though, and turns out.
Oh, look at that heal!
Strong, but Kale.
Look at this heal, DoA.
More celestial, dude.
Oh
no!
The
Fizzle.
burst.
Too strong.
Yeah, Shaco 3 still quite the unit.
Oh yeah, Shaco 3 is still nuts. So looking for possibly the Lulu too. There's another Lulu. Okay. So he's close. Obviously, a Wukong 2 would help a lot. Yeah, I agree that it's not a Kale 3 game.
Rolling it down just to see it. He's not gonna die if he loses, but it's still like that uncomfortable range.
So Agon, Tien, and MismatchedSocks already out this game. Very, very tight 4th and 5th between Souless and Deis1k right now. Deis1k fighting Khroen. See if he stays alive. Kale v Kale.
Oh no, Kale got bumped, but the Force Celestial buff can out heal the damage from the other Kale.
Oh, so much healing it can.
Oh, Deis1k's dead.
Oh no, Deis1k out at in 5th. Souless lives to 4th place. Got our top 4 for this game. Kiyoon takes a big shot, goes down to 4 HP as well.
Kiting is doing this. Kiting is using the Space Jam comp to climb to the top 4, and he's the win streak, the lone player streaking.
Yeah. Well, let's check out what he's got. And the answer is he's got all of the units that you really want a 3-star, right? Which is your 2 protectors and then your 2 space pirates. This is kind of peak comp. And he's got what are arguably the best items on Darius, which is double death cap and QSS. Yeah, so he's not going to be slowed down. He's doing a ton of damage.
He's still missing the White Ranger. Kassadin 3 is also a really big deal.
Yeah, that definitely helps.
The Power Rangers.
Yeah. That is true.
Watch these dunks.
Jump right into the trap claw. Doesn't matter.
Wow, crushing victory. Almost destroys Khroen in one blow. Khroen was in the 20s, but this is going to reach a resolution real quick. Souless and Kiyoon are fighting for 3rd place.
Yep.
Or 4th place, rather. And Souless gets the win.
Kiyoon out at 4th. So Souless secures a top 3 at least.
Okay, Zephyr could be a huge swing here. Zero Portal also might be very good for Khroen, especially to stall out.
Well, with KitingIsHard, Zero Portal on a 3-star is also a ton of extra beefy front line. He's gonna grab the
is there a spatula combination that we didn't spot?
Yeah, I wasn't looking at all the single items, but let's see what he's got. He has got
Protector.
A belt. Oh, that's so nice because now he can work 4 protectors and 4 celestials in there, I believe.
Yes.
Can you do it? Yeah, you can.
Yes,
right?
You can.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to play this comp in this way the other day, actually on the ladder, and getting 4 protectors in there really pushes it over the line. Although I think it is really nice to get that protector spat on Darius if you can. But on Jace, obviously, is going to be insanely strong too. So, yeah, now this is just like a much higher damage output of the 4 protector, 4 celestial comp that we've seen for a while.
The Zephyr on the shins out, though, definitely hurts.
Doesn't matter. Darius has come to town. He's ready to dunk.
Souless is down.
Yep,
and
that's a win.
Looks like Kiting won the lobby. What a turnaround.
Yep.
Scam has come to slam, and Kiting stays alive in the tournament with a lobby victory. Well done.
You know, when it comes to those reroll comps that specialize in the 2 stars, those it feels like everyone, like Protector, Celestial, Mystic, the Slash Bros, and also now Space Jam. Those are comps that are very like binary. They're either a 1 or they're a 0. By 0, I mean 8th, right? Where if you don't have the right items and get all the 3 stars and like manage to stay safe in the early game, you're probably going to have a little bit of a rougher game. It feels like you don't see these comps finish a lot in like the middle of the pack. It's either at the bottom or at the very, very top. And this time was a top for Kiting.
Yep. And I want to go back and watch the VOD, but most importantly, Kiting was able to spot an open lane while some of the other compositions were contested.
Yeah.
But I do want to point out that Souless, I mean, he is guaranteed to go through, so that was big. But for MismatchedSocks and Tien, who are like 7 and 8 in those standings, they placed a lot lower than they want to be. So that's scary when other people like Kiyoon and Kiting are now catching up, and Khroen even landing in the top 3 as well. Socks and Tien have to make sure that they can't repeat that performance being 7th and 8th, because they if they do that a couple more times, they could not make it for tomorrow. It's possible.
Right. It's really kind of coming down to the wire right now. But KitingIsHard doing himself a lot of favors. He's at 51 points, I believe. He's at 51 right now. So just on the outside looking in. And we've got 2 games remaining. So he's got a good chance of, if he can keep up the performance anyway, of breaking into the top 8.
Definitely. So based off of how things are, still a lot more movement, but you can see the gap closing between Kiyoon and Tien. Before, that was way wider heading into tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Now Kiyoon is just 4 points back. He is clawing his way back in, one reroll at a time.
Even Khroen still has that chance, but he's going to need now to do well himself and also have some of the other players in the lobby do pretty poorly.
Right.
For him to make it in. So it is getting a little bit tougher for players like Khroen to kind of make a run at the top 8. But we're not done yet. 2 games in the bag. We're going to take a break now. And when we come back, guys, game number 3, 2 games remain to see who makes into the top 8. Don't go anywhere. Giant Slayer series will be right back after this. Welcome back, guys. 2 games remain to decide who the top 8 are going to be going on to the finals lobby tomorrow for Giant Slayer Series. DoA and Frodan here with you. And we've seen some pretty exciting stuff today already. Game 2 getting won by KitingIsHard playing the Space Jam comp. The Darius was resetting all over the place. And hey, it worked out really well. He found the items, found the 3 stars, and made it happen.
Yeah, so I think perhaps some of these new compositions rising up late into the patch perhaps gives us some a reminder that things, even though they might seem like they could be solved in terms of what you want to climb efficiently with, there's still a lot of room for experimentation and exploration. And I always love seeing that, right? So you mentioned what other units are we not really considering right now that could be very good as potential carries?
Yep. Well, I was saying Vi, honestly, I think is she's so strong if you get her to 3 stars and you put items on her, but it's really difficult to find a composition that you can do that, right? And still have like another carry as well. Because if you've got Brawler Blasters, it's hard to itemize her over something like an MF or a Jinx. Which one of them are you going to pass up, right? So I think she's one that maybe people are going to figure out eventually. There's a couple others as well. I mean, Darius was my go-to until people finally started actually playing it. But here we go. KitingIsHard, the winner of our last lobby. Starting out with him in game number 3 here to decide who is going to the top 8 tomorrow. Just a regular Galaxy, it looks like this time around, our second normal one of the night. Did start things off with Super Dense, but it's a normal time now. It's time to look up Khroen's build, apparently.
Yes. This is the central stream, of course, where we look at people's lol chess history.
Right. There is no spectator mode for TFT yet, sadly, so we have to rely on their streams.
Kiting is like scouting, like, okay, how is Soju doing so far? And a lot of bottom. Yikes.
It's rough. It's rough.
Yeah, multitasking, Kiting is really trying hard to make sure that if he does commit to a composition like Rebels or Bang Bros, that he has his references, right?
Yeah.
Always check your sources.
It's pretty much every time I level, I have another window open with lol chess where I'm like looking at somebody's account that has been playing the comp I'm going for that game a lot, just to make sure that I'm like building optimal items and sort of cross-referencing what they're going for. It's just always nice to have that resource because you save so much time if it's just in your other monitor and you'd be like, oh, okay, that's what this guy builds a lot on this, so that makes sense. I'll go for that.
Yeah.
And just like thinking about it,
At the same time, it makes me kind of self-conscious that it's just like so publicly available how bad I am sometimes. When people do like the lol chess reacts, and I'm like, oh geez, I hope no one ever looks at mine on stream.
Yep. I look at my profile and I'm like, how did I get so many like bad items on so many champions? I'm like, I know better than this. I know that like this item doesn't go on this champion, but when you're in the game and you're just kind of like, trying to do whatever you think is best, you go down some dark paths for a name. It gets rough.
Yeah, I see more in the chat talking about it. I'm sure he gets the worst of it all.
Well, it's the whole like do as I say, not as I do, philosophy, right? Where it's like we know what items are supposed to go on what champions to make good compositions, but do we do that in our own games?
Well,
obviously, if we did, we'd be playing, right?
And he was playing Rebels, and I think like it's important to play like he's not incentivized to play the same comp all the way to Challenger. He has to actually like learn other compositions. But that's brutal because I think he was playing Rebels, and Rebels aren't super strong. They're very niche. They can obviously top 2 or maybe even win a lobby, but it requires some like very specific things to go right. And I think he didn't necessarily do that well. But it's like at the same time, I think a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, and it's scary because it's all in lol chess. Anyways, Kiting's already kind of doing that scouting, and he's like, well, I'm just gonna start with this Rebels build. Speaking of which.
Why not?
And we'll see if it ends up being an okay start here for Kiting, because after that great game number 2, he's going to need to keep that up if he wants to make top 8 for tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. The funny thing is I was actually thinking a lot about Rebels lately and watching this one account that was in the top 100. I think the guy made it to like 80 or something like that, playing mostly Rebel comps, playing like the old like GP and Friends Rebels and stuff. And then now he's completely given up and he's not playing at all anymore. And I'm like, all right, well, at least someone can survive in the top 100 for a little while playing it. So,
Yeah.
if you're in
Yeah.
plat or something out there, or if you're trying to climb, like if you're trying to climb, like honestly, anything is viable, right? If you learn it well and you can execute. But at the top elos, Rebels is pure Rebels is a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I've been seeing some people experiment with Rebels a lot more.
Yeah.
Like Fluffy, I think might be one of the top players who might like Rebels a little too much. Every time I scout Fluffy a lot, and I try to see what he's up to, and it seems like he is like messing around with Rebels, and had like some games where he's first, and some games where he's like dead last. And I wonder if it's because he's not hitting, or because he's just trying a bunch of different builds.
Frodan,
So
we all have comps that we like a little bit too much.
right, right.
I've heard. I don't know what that's like personally, but I've heard.
And I think, well, I mean, so I tried like finding a method to the madness, and I think I narrowed it down to that Rebels entirely depends on two things: how well you hit your Jinx items and how quickly you can hit Jinx and win streak. And then the second thing is, can you find the transition to eventually the Aurelion Soul 2, and add in all the works that really makes Rebels good.
Right, get the GP late game because you really need like an ASOL 2, GP2. Jinx can be another carry, like you mentioned.
Right, Misfortune is great as well.
Right.
So all these different possibilities, and I think the number one thing that I think helps Rebels the most, besides obviously the ideal Jinx items, is actually a Rebel spat, believe it or not. So, but anyways, that's another entire topic. We don't know if Kiting is going to commit to Rebels. We're hopping on board with Tien, who's got an early Chronos start, which is great for win streaking. I think Chronos is one of the best compositions if you want to start building early game board, because you have such flexible ways you can sprinkle in your carries.
Very true. Let's see what we've got. Looks like was that an offensive items carousel? Yeah, no, it's not. Not quite. Pretty much. It's got like a cloak and a belt, I guess. But other than that, just swords, bows, sparring gloves, spiky metal sparring gloves. I don't know about that, man. Like if I was gonna spar with someone and they like busted those things out, like metal gloves with spikes on the knuckles, I'm like, no, I'm not sparring you when you're wearing those. Put on some like padded gloves or something where you're not gonna like kill someone immediately with it.
Yeah.
That item needs a name change. More in the chat, sparring gloves, man. Or a change. We need an icon change or a name change. One of the two.
Yeah. Well, either way, I love gloves. I think you heard me talk about it in the previous game. I think it's a very versatile item.
Sure.
It's like actually one of my default items where if I like don't know what I should be picking, I feel like I can always find a use out of gloves in any stage of the game.
Definitely.
But I'm sure people could justify that with a bunch of different items. In general, actually, I'm actually very happy. One thing that I feel like I'm very happy with the set is the density of the item quality seems to be a lot thicker now, which is important. Because before it kind of felt like in previous sets or different patches that like only a few items really mattered, and the others were just like random things that you would put on. But now it's like situationally, there's a lot more flexible uses for items, and like even like we're talking about Swordbreaker and Zero Portal and like all these other items that have been neglected for a long time in the beginning of the set. Now I'm starting to see a lot more play.
Yeah, I agree.
Situational
I think this set is easily the best set we've had for a lot of reasons, and one of them is the one you just said, where pretty much every item feels valuable in different contexts. Like if you really know how to use it, you can get a lot of mileage out of pretty much everything.
Yeah. Holy moly! By the way, this is a stage 2/6 Kale, and we are playing Chronos, and we are not picking it up. This is very interesting to me. I mean, he picked up a bunch of mech infiltrator units. He had the 3 mech pilots set up as long as he found Fizz, but it's kind of hard to not pick up this Kale. I feel like it is one of the best units that you can get. There's an argument to be made that Kale 1 might be the best 1-star unit in the game alongside Xerath.
Yeah, I think you definitely agree. He does pick it up in the end. Sometimes you see players skip that and be like, all right, I know I'm going to see another one later. I need the economy more right now. But that's for like 3 costs usually. That's like, if you see like a Lux or something like that, not if you see a Kale. So yeah, definitely picking that one up. You need it. doing a little bit more scouting for Chrono on the side over there. Souless starting out his Dark Star comp like he always does, the double sniper.
Yeah, at this point, Solus trying to make a rampage back to the top because more so than he cares about qualifying for top 8, which he already has,
Mhm.
Solus cares about preserving his tournament streak that he's been absolutely tearing it up. He sold the Kale.
What?
He
Okay.
sold the Kale. What?
I mean, like I said, some players are like very confident that they're going to see another one later, and maybe he's
Ooh.
not thinking he's going to go it. I mean, he's picking up brawlers. He's got a couple different directions he can go, right? I mean, he could go Protectors, Darius comp. He could go Space Jam. He's got the GA, which is just a very versatile item. I don't think you want to try to contest Solus with Dark Stars, but he must feel like he's much more open as far as his options than it looked like with that Kale.
Ooh, that hurts my heart. I'm a Kale lover. I've been actually kind of a Kale gamer lately myself. I've been
Sure.
because everyone's playing all these like different new comps. They're playing the Space Jam. They're playing Darkstar. Obviously, people playing Mech Infiltrator.
Mhm.
But like people have kind of like still ignoring Kale comp a little bit too much, in my opinion. And
Hmm.
I love playing it. It's super fun
It's so
and very
surprising that you
dynamic.
say that because I feel like I see like at least 2 Kale players in every lobby right now.
I mean, yeah, it varies. I'm just saying, like, I've been noticing it more open than usual. And so, like,
Hmm.
I've been going for it a lot more. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but it's also like a very powerful unit to just play. Like, the thing is, TNT didn't have to commit to KO. You can just play as a 1-star unit and
Right.
just put it as an item carrier for other things.
Yeah, it can get you through like stage 3 and part of stage 4 as well with not too many items, honestly. Like you mentioned, just being 1 star is good enough. Looks
Right,
like
right.
Solus starting out with the Space Pirate beginning here. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where a lot of people are realizing that just Darius Graves or Darius Jace is generally just a very strong early game. That is unless you run into somebody who is a very similar thing, but 2-star versions of it.
Oof.
That is rough.
Yeah.
Oh, did not slam hard enough.
Didn't slam hard enough, and
He's there
this
though.
Master G ran away with it. Kind of committed to the Bang Bros comp. I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. You know, it is interesting because I kind of really want to see what that composition can do at the highest level when people are playing for, like the win. And it
Mhm.
seems like Khroen has like is largely believing that he thinks that this composition can take him to the top.
I think it's just too binary. I think it's a lot like the to me Slash Bros seems like it's a very similar comp in results, I think, to the Space Jam comp, except that it has a weaker mid game because Yasuo and Yi are just going to be generally weaker without items and without a lot of stars than the Space Pirates are. So I feel like it's a riskier version of one of the popular level 5, level 6 reroll comps right now. So I don't know. I've never been convinced Slash Bros is like a top tier comp, and I've seen it win games, but I just haven't seen it be consistent enough to convince me. If somebody out
Yeah.
there can prove me wrong, that'd be great. But I don't know about that comp.
Dude, I'm on your side. I am not sure about the composition. Every time I've seen it do well, like the thing is, I've seen it do well, but it's kind of like my bias coming into play because oh, being trolled. Wow,
Gotta
3
grab the chain
vests and
vest.
Khroen is the second pick, and he didn't get a single vest. That feels bad.
Yeah.
But kind of what I was saying before was the reason why I feel like Bang Bros is so powerful is because I only remember when it wins. I don't really remember when it loses very often in my lobbies. But when it wins so like overwhelmingly dominant that I'm like, why are more people not playing this composition? And then I play it myself and I lose. I'm like, oh, that's why. Because it's like what you said. It's very
Yeah.
feast or famine.
Yeah. And I mean, you saw Crowan like miss that chain vest, and that's huge because you absolutely need a chain vest item on Master Yi, or he just will simply not be strong enough to carry you. And in that situation, your entire comp falls apart, right? So yeah, and this is why I haven't played a lot of this comp because I don't like playing comps where I feel like it's so item dependent that if I miss one thing, I'm destined to like maybe if I'm lucky, top 4 instead of like probably top 4. So
well,
like I said, I mean, like I'm just not convinced by it.
that's interesting that you pointed out because I think most people who have gripes with this composition actually say it's more the fact that 3-starring Master Yi is too important. Kind of like how
That too.
3-starring Syndra is like the real key to Star Guardians. And the thing about what people like about this comp is its item flexibility. At least from what I was first hearing about it. I
Really?
played it myself. Yeah, I think it's largely because you can kind of make almost anything work as long as you have like a carry item on one carry item, one defensive item on Master Yi, and you can kind of just like slap whatever you want onto Yasuo, which is why I think most people liked about the comp originally when they were first seeing it.
All right.
So it's definitely an interesting school of thought. I'm sure that it could be debated, and as time goes on, I think there's fewer negotiable item slots. I think for now, like people are saying that the 3 best items are Bramble Vest, QSS, and the Rage Blade, and if you don't get it, you're going to be in trouble. So
Right.
it seems like because it's getting more refined, people are finding that you have to have those items. So it's kind of like what you were saying as well.
Yeah, I mean, it always like over time, people always do sort of like debate out what like the optimal items are on every comp, but it is fun where you do have that debate. Like that's one of the most fun parts about TFT, right? Is like debating very energetically with people about what item, what items are best, what comps are best, like what time to put what in. There's just so much to think about in TFT. That's one of my favorite parts about it is arguing with people about TFT stuff.
Oh yeah,
Arguing in like a positive way. A healthy debate. Anyway, yeah. So we'll see what he gets off the infiltrators. Obviously, like we mentioned, could really use Bramble Vest or a Titan's Resolve or something like that. Finds an opportunity for a Trap Claw, and there's an Infinity Edge. Bloodthirster as well, I think is okay on Yi, because, yeah, I know he's healing a lot from his ultimate as well, but if you can kind of augment that, that can kind of keep him going for longer. But it's getting to the point where you don't want to build that on Yi, but you're sort of like thinking, maybe that's what I just need to do. You can see him mulling over his item options. You need to put something on Yasuo as well. So another QSS.
Yeah, Zeke's
Maybe
is
Zeke's game?
okay as well, which is again what we were talking about, something that people have been experimenting more, so you can get the stacks up, and this is something that I know like Socks in particular likes to do because he's a math guy. But just stacking attack speed with someone that already also stacks attack speed with Rage Blade doesn't work really additively. It's multiplicative. So it's something that requires some kind of like finite amount of calculations. But
I'm not doing that.
It's not bad. Clearly Khroen is going to save these items to try to get something else better, right? You can get like Guardian Angel, or you can get something else. But for now, he's going to roll down because he needs to find a 3-star, and it's any of these units really. Usually, obviously you want Mastery and Yasuo, but Shen and Blitz getting the 3-star also are very useful.
Yeah, 3-star Blitz is actually one of my favorite 3-stars in the game, just because of how you can kind of reach out and touch someone to death at the beginning of every round early in the game. Changes late, but okay, so it is going to be a Zeke's game. All right. Khroen's not doing the math either, and I appreciate that. A man after my own heart.
This is Khroen kind of showing that he needs to get back as much strength as he can into this composition. He feels too weak just to kind of play it and hope that he can greed items.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of justified. Without the Zeeks, maybe this fight went the other way. It was kind of close, relatively speaking.
Yeah, I mean, Master Yi did carry a bit towards the end of that.
Right, every little bit matters,
Yep. Well, let's see. Okay. There's a little bit of stuff just kind of rolling down again, just looking for those 3-stars. Finds a Shen. But staying above 50 gold. And he's still got 50 HP, and he's still winning rounds. So it's definitely not like dire straits for Khroen just yet. We're going to go take a look at what MismatchedSocks is up to, going for, looks like Mana Reaver, Cybernetics, Blade Master comp. He's got 4 Blade Masters in there right now. He's not doing it, is he? He's not going 6 Blade Master. Is the man that crazy? Does he dare?
Well, I mean, it's just a really strong composition to play until you land the cybernetics here. And
Sure.
Socks is, playing the Where's Echo game, one of my favorite games in TFT.
As we all do.
Yeah. And
Every
time
time
I
I
feel
play
like I get a
cybernetics,
grasp, he just freezes time and hops away.
he's a slippery fellow, that Echo.
Yeah.
Dude, like playing cybernetics feels so good right up until the moment you're looking for the Echo, and then you're like, oh, why am I playing this stupid comp? Because you're so strong in the early game and the mid game with cybernetics a lot, and then you don't find the Echo and you start to lose, and you're like, oh no. But then you find him and everything's okay. But there's that moment of extreme stress in every cybernetics game.
Was he looking for the misfortune? Did he land it?
Maybe he did. Huh. All right.
I mean, Misfortune's good unit. Doesn't seem like he has Kale or anything there right now in his composition.
Yeah. Not really getting the, benefit from Valkyrie and things like that. Just going to sell it.
So that's later.
It's 5 gold.
So if he wants to make the transition to cybernetics, he's holding Leona on his bench and Vi as well. So he's missing just purely Echo. And if he does, he'll replace everything except the Celestials, it looks like, because he doesn't have the Ezreal Shen shell. There's a few different ways you can go about cybernetics builds, this is part of the reason why it's like super fun to play.
Did you see
what
I
saw?
saw?
Go for Celestial base with Cassidon. You can play like the Misfortune and the Kale composition as well for the Valkyries.
Right. Are you seeing what I'm seeing right now?
I'm seeing Agon with the Mech Infiltrator and this double Titans Resolve.
I love double Titans Resolve, but and I think it's very good. It's just against unfortunately he's running into an Aurelia with Last Whisper, and that is gonna cause big problems because even if you get to 50 stacks, like it's gonna burn through your mech so fast. Yeah. So normally I really like that. Against Last Whisper, not so much.
Yeah. And it looks like from here, Socks is healthy enough where he can really just eco up. He's been eco up the whole time, not rolling for single Echo. And this is because you're supposed to go to level 9 and roll so you can get Echo. And Cybernetics have such a strong enough core that if you're win streaking and you have an Irelia too like this, you can just kind of chill and go to the level 9, even though you will lose a couple of rounds potentially.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at 81 HP, you're going to feel really, really good.
Around?
He's crushing people too.
It really is nutty. Deis1k takes the L.
The crazy thing too is when you play this comp, once you hit that 6 cybernetics, it's almost like getting another big item or, getting like a 2.5 star Aurelia, right? There's the Echo. He founds it, or he finds it. I sound like Gollum for a second there. He founds it. That's what you feel like, though. You feel like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, but Echo is your ring. Yeah. You're just like, my precious. Where's my precious?
Curious why we have that Graves in there, but yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Celestial package pretty common. Wants to get that rod off the Cassidon so he can like itemize more optimally.
Right.
But I mean, that's part of the fun of cybernetics. Extremely flexible with how you itemize here.
Yeah. Can go for a big time Aurelia carry, Echo
red
carry,
buff.
Lucian
Okay.
carry. Yeah, I was gonna say red buff on the Lucian.
Yeah, that's pretty significant because I would say that the one thing missing from his composition is something like an anti-heal because there are going to be compositions that make it tricky.
Oh wait, he can still make a red buff. What I'm talking about? Oh, he's gonna put red buff on Echo. That's actually way better. As long as Echo ults. If Echo doesn't ult, then it's not great.
Yeah, it's fine to put on Echo because he doesn't have the blasters with Misfortune and Kale, right. So he doesn't get the like the Lucian spraying every 2 seconds effect that he would like.
I just get nervous with the 1-star Echo. He's gonna frontline it to try to keep it a little bit safer.
He's surprisingly tanky. The 6 cybernetic buff giving you like hundreds of HP is surprisingly like good enough to make Echo feel like he's like a 2.5-star unit.
Fair enough. Tien taking a big shot right there.
Here we go. The level 9 at 5-2. 80 gold. He's saved up. Is he going for it? He's like thinking about like maybe just pre-levels. He's been win streaking so convincingly. He's been thinking about greeting even more. Nah,
Dude,
he's
just
going
do
for
it.
Yeah.
All right. Gets the thresh in. Gets a Mana Reaver even more online than it was, I guess.
Yeah, he kind of has to curate his bench a little bit more. So even though I think like Shen could be justified being played here, because I think he doesn't even have 3-blade. Oh, he does have 3-blade masters.
Yeah. He has
with
a
the
Xayah.
Yeah. Okay. Then
right.
why would we keep the Shen on the bench? That's interesting to me.
I mean, Shen comes in and ults and keeps people relatively safe. Blitzcrank is obviously who you want, but you know, I guess Shen makes things slightly more tanky. That is a big Xerath too, but not big enough to keep Souless safe. Wow.
Jeez, he like nukes Souless for 20. And that doesn't really happen at stage 5. He's like safely leveled to 9. And a large reason why is because he found that natural echo at the PvE round. Like usually at 9, you're like, okay, I'm going to roll 30 gold and try to find echo. Oh my God, I didn't find echo. I hate this game. I'm going to tweet about it at Mortdog. Why did you hate this game?
Does he put the Kiyoon?
I'm not talking about. I'm just saying what I see. But yeah, he found it. Now he's safely got to level 9. He didn't have to lose a lot to get to it, and now he's win streaking at 81 life at this point of the game. That's absurd.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than being at level 9 and having over 80 HP and over 40 gold in your bank. Like, this is as good a game as anyone has in TFT, aside from the rare 100 HP game.
Yeah, Cybernetics still very much alive and kicking, and most likely will even after the patch, because it's just a good fundamental comp. Now Khroen, on the other hand, hits Master Yi and Yasuo 3. That is a composition when it hits all of these power spikes.
Yep, just like Space Jam. And you notice too, he found the Bramble Vest for Master Yi, so now he's got that extra tankiness. Where the Aurelia is definitely a lot less relevant. I'm gonna swap to Souless soon, but let's see what everybody gets off the carousel. Good items on this carousel.
Souless did not take the Xerath at the death cap, and that could indicate either that his Xerath is already done, or he doesn't need Xerath.
I think it's already done if I remember right. I'll go look. Let's see. I thought I saw. Yeah, he's got a Xerath 2 with 3 items already.
2 trap claws. Interesting.
Yeah.
So rolling down, looks like he's kind of struggling with a bunch of 1-star units. He's 2-star his most important units, but it's still kind of important to at least 2-star the other things as well.
Well, sure. He's basically got no front line with his comp. He's got a lot of stuff that dies fast.
1-star Jarvan, and that's his but is he gonna double trap claw the Jhin? What is this?
Does that even work? Wait, does that? I've never done that. Have you done that?
I think he's waiting. So he's waiting for the first. Okay, I've never done that, but like, does it mean it blocks the first 2 spells now?
It was hard to say. It didn't look like Shaco got stunned, so I don't know. I'd really love to know because I've never seen anyone do that. He's dead, so we'll never get to see another.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good to die with items on your bench either. So Souless looks like he struggled a little bit this game. I don't know exactly why, but he is bottom 4.
All right, yeah, a rare low finish for Souless here. Khroen though looking pretty good and having a great day too. 5-3 and possibly, well, definitely a top 4 if not higher this time.
Yeah, Kiting has bombed out in 7th, which has greatly impacted his chances of making it to the top now. I think he would have to get first in order to get into the top 8 potentially next game. And then Deis1k as well. Deis1k with a 5th puts him actually at the same range as Kiting. So this could be a photo finish for whoever wins the lobby. But, for now, we're focusing on Khroen, who's just got this Master Yi chopping away the mech. Completely unchecked right now.
Will never lose HP.
And there you go.
I mean, if I recall, no Morellos on the Kaisa or anything like that, so nothing to really slow down the healing from the Master Yi. Triple item Kane. Here we go. Look at those items. Those items are actually pretty good, honestly, for Khroen to create a tankier front line and just make his stuff last longer.
The Cybernetics player got great items. What is this? Two gauntlets and an Infinity Edge? What?
I mean, Jewel Gauntlet is maybe not the thing you want to see that much if you're playing Dark Stars like that, but I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I love the items for socks, but then I looked at TN's items and I'm like, I'm not I think that might be even better.
Well, Kane is basically Santa Claus here, giving lots
Yeah,
of gifts.
love it. I personally like 3 item canes. I think they appear the
Yeah.
right amount for my personal taste.
Oh yeah.
Very fun.
So he's gonna jump up to the 2 Celestial buff by putting in the Cassidon.
Yeah, this
Um,
Runen's kind of weird. I don't know exactly where you want it to. I guess if you had Mana Reaver, it could be cool, but
maybe honestly on Sona, because she would cast a little bit faster with the attack speed.
yeah, that's totally fair.
I would put on Sona, but we'll see what he goes. He's thinking about Sona. Put on Sona.
Wow, she's Zephyr now, so now he's gonna place it on her after.
Yeah, thinking about it. Okay. Yeah, looks like he's gonna pretty comfortably win this round anyway.
Oh yeah,
But
and he's taking down Sox, who just also got a massive power spike. But Sox is like waiting for the ultimate Giga roll down. He's at level 9, more than 50 gold,
mhm.
and so Sox is about to power up.
Even more than before. There's another Echo, but it's not in the shop of the player who wants it the most. That Sona 3 would be so big for Khroen if he can find it.
Yeah, the biggest power spike for Khroen would be the Sona 3 and the Shen 3, because Shen's holding some pretty solid items. And the longer that Frozen Heart can stay up means that the weaker Cybernetics get, because Cybernetics is mainly like a melee attack thing, and they'll surround Shen.
Right.
And he just survives for a long time. Wow, lands the Shroud of Stillness onto the Zerath. He's going to take a while for him to get his ability off, and Master Yi might get to him before he gets to
He
use
does.
his ability. And now Master Yi's going to chop down almost the rest of the army here in Tien. How much damage is he going to take here?
Is he dead? He's dead. He got him. Wow,
Are you
Khroen on the verge of
serious?
winning this one. He's looking really, really strong.
What?
Huh. All right. I mean, this is kind of what we said all night about these comps is that they are either like number 1 or number 8. Like there's very little gray area
Holy
with
moly.
comps like Slash Bros and Space Jam, and to a lesser extent, I would say the most consistent overall in previous patches was Protector, just straight up like Protector Mystic, but that's kind of fallen by the wayside. And these new
Yeah.
comps, though, they're really fun to play and they're very explosive, but man, are they feast or famine.
And we talk a lot about how late game Shroud of Stillness can be like game changing. And wow, once again, landing on Shaco and Kaisa. It's going to take a while for them to get their abilities off.
Yep,
That
hitting the
might
mech
give
as
enough
well,
time
which is
for
crucial
him
when
to
you
chop
have
down
everyone surrounding the mech.
Master E's ramped up and his abilities going off. Rumble can't really do much here.
Yasuo as well. And oh no. Oh, that was close, but he's gonna get him. Yeah. Close
Wow.
call.
Khroen. One
Might have
last chance for Sox to turn around. There's the Seraphs on the board, but the Zephyr as well. Zephyr's good. Also, Celestial Lord. Hold on. Yes,
Yeah,
I
I was
like
gonna
this pick
say.
from Khroen, actually.
I wonder if he can. How can he move things around? Can he put the Thresh in? I
Yeah,
suppose he can put
he can
the
actually just take out the Ash now. The sniper is entirely useless.
right, and now he can get Mana Reaver because he can put Thresh in over the Ash.
Yeah, and now I kind of get now I bet he wishes the the Runins was on Cassidon or Thresh here, but
Yeah, well, what can you do? It's it's one of those
yeah.
things. He's
Oh,
got so much gold
wait,
too.
hold on. Is Khroen trying to go into 9 here? Like he's holding 65 gold. If he wins this round, this might be the highest gold count I've ever seen someone win a competitive tournament.
That's like a swag win right there, man. Where it's like, hey man, I got money in the bank and I was still able to beat
Oh,
you.
I mean
Thresh.
that is a souped up Echo and an Irelia
I mean, he
that
pulled
has
Messiah with
great
the Thresh, which
items.
is not great either.
Uh,
Echo though.
Oh, Master
Echo.
Yi's unstoppable. Master Yi can't be stopped or denied. Khroen ends.
Yeah,
Sell your
that's
bench,
it.
baby.
Wow, Khroen takes lobby number 3 with the Slash Bros. They get the win, and that was impressive. That was a lot of good
Damn,
items at
he
the very end.
won with over 60 gold. I think he could have gotten to 70 gold if he just sold his bench for the flare.
I think that's like the most I've ever seen anyone sit on as far as gold goes at the end of a game that they won. That's pretty insane.
Yeah. And I hadn't really seen another player win in a tournament other than Gunmei with the
Mhm.
Rebels with his Bang Bro comp. So really well done by Khroen. And the reroll compositions, we have Khroen taking the win. We just saw Kiting also win with the Space Jam Darius J Celestial base comp. And then we had Mech Infiltrator. So reroll
Yeah.
compositions are ruling the day. But Socks also landed very nicely in second place and has secured his spot also in the finals. And also shout out to Souless, kind of still staying in that top 3 range, even though it doesn't look like he is likely to win because Kiyoon and Khroen both are doing very well right now.
Mhm.
Souless is still putting on a great performance.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the overall stats are right now to see where everyone is at as we go into the final game. And if we look at it,
Oh,
look at that. Kiyoon and Khroen just on the outside looking in. Soju and Tien actually tied in points right now. There's only a difference of 2 points between 5th and 8th right now. So,
yes. So Tien will get 1 point guaranteed
yeah,
at 65 because if you place 8th, you will get 1 point. If
right.
Kiyoon gets 4 points, he will leapfrog Soju. And if Khroen well, I guess Khroen has to kind of go for broke. He has to go second or above, and then
Right.
he'll outplay Soju. Right now, Soju is looking like the primary candidate to move out top 8, and then Fluffy right behind him. This is kind of a scary moment. But what's important to note is that with Kiting 7th place and Deis1k not able to get higher than that, both of those players, even if they get 10 points, would still be outside of that range. So Kiting and Deis1k effectively eliminated from the
Right.
finals.
Still competitive spots available in the bottom 2, perhaps bottom 3 of the current top 8 as we head into our final game here in group play. And it's anyone's guess as far as like what comp is going to win this and who's going to win this. The B patch, I think, is still, we're about to move on to like 10.9 right this week, but like I feel like B patch was never really figured out. There was still a lot of experimentation being done, and so it's kind of interesting seeing people really kind of like go all in with these compositions that either do, go last or first a lot of times. But it's kind of like what we talked about as we move into our final lobby here. Oh, it's a Nico verse as well. But it's kind of like what we talked about, where if you want to move into that top 8, you need to go for the number ones, right? And so we've seen comps that can do that performing well tonight.
Yeah, and we're gonna wrap up the last lobby of the night with the Nico verse, and we talk about how effective certain reroll compositions are. Nico verse is particularly pronounced because you can hit those 3 stars so consistently. You're holding 7 Master E's. We'll just finish it right now, and
Yep.
you can tell the difference, a world of difference between um, Khroen getting Master E to 3-star versus not.
Yeah.
And it was purely based off of that parallel spike that he was able to ride the win. I don't even know if he lost after he hit Master E3. I think it was that
A
strong.
lot of times people don't. Last Saturday, Khroen and I were casting that charity tournament, and we had Revan in that lobby go down to, I think it was 19 HP, and then hit the 3 stars with Slash Bros and come back and win the lobby for the last game of the tournament. So that's usually how it goes. If you've got the items, if you hit the 3 stars, you're gonna start to just win streak your way to victory.
Yeah, and I think that with the current state of affairs as well, you want to really go for that win. I was reading up on like some potential tiebreakers because like what happens if the players tie for points, which you would think after playing so many lobbies that you wouldn't have to come down to tiebreakers, but it's with the skill of these players being so thin in terms of the margins that they have.
Uh-huh.
We do have tiebreakers prepared, so we'll let you know after the dust has settled. But for now, we're going to kind of focus in on what these players can do. Khroen starts off with a pretty interesting set of item components right now, and if he doesn't get anything else and he gets a gold start, I wonder where he's going to go from here.
Well, it's one of those item boards early where it's like you've got half of a lot of good things, right? Where other items like Hand of Justice, Luden's Echo, like you don't usually build those early, and in a lot of games you don't usually build them at all. So having all this stuff kind of means one of two things. Like you were saying, if he doesn't get any more items, then you kind of wonder what you're going to do, for your early game if you can't slam an early big item, right? But you also have a chance of finding a lot of really good stuff like this. Exactly. So we've got an opportunity for an Infinity Edge, which is one of the stronger items in the meta right now. Oh, and there's Darius. And I'm not a big fan, honestly, of the Infinity Edge Jeweled Gauntlet start for Darius. He's thinking about it. He could build a Jeweled Gauntlet. I don't know. Maybe he's going to prove me wrong, but I think as far as a Darius comp goes, I feel like if you build that Jeweled Gauntlet, you are committed to Darius. Like you are the Darius guy in that lobby. Infinity Edge is a bit different. The Jeweled Gauntlet is saying, I am going Space Jam.
The thing is, this is a universe where it feels like you can go for it, though, because you get the Nicoverse, and you're not going to be like, well, you know, I'm just a few units off.
It's possible, but yeah, then again, like, there a stronger way you could build that Darius, and already we see a Darius with a rod on the other side too, and the possibility of building a Jeweled Gauntlet.
Oh yeah,
the dunk contest goes to Khroen. But talk about a duel of the fates there, right? Opportunity for the Jeweled Gauntlet for MismatchedSocks as well.
Right.
That was some Mortal Kombat right there.
Excellent. All right, well, so we're going to check back in with Khroen as time goes on. In the meantime, another player who's trying to cement his spot in the top 8 is Tien, who doesn't have anything guaranteed. It's close. Tien and Khroen and Kiyoon are kind of in this limbo spot of trying to fight for that 7th and 8th spots in the tournament, with, of course, Fluffy, Soju watching, as they are the other 2 players that potentially be bumped out.
You know, I love it because this really feels like playoffs in like other sports as well, where you've got like teams or players that aren't playing, like watching these games being like, please do bad, or like, please do well. I want to get in.
They're popping off when like their opponents like mess up or like have something really unlucky happen to them.
Exactly. Like they become like their mortal enemy's biggest fan, but just for one night.
Yeah. I do think it's worth noting that I believe that it is possible for all 3 of them to make it, and Radiance would be the next person that would be pushed out of top 8, which would be quite an upset, I think, given how strong he started.
Yeah, very consistent early in the tournament. Got a little bit rocky in the last few rounds for him, but still good results overall. So it would be too bad to see him not make the final round.
Yeah, I think to guarantee it, Khroen would finish first, and then Kiyoon finishes second-ish. Like he can get third, and then Tien finishes top 5. I think that would cement that specific scenario. So a lot of, again, like this is a player to focus on and see how Tien's do it. He's played a pretty wide range of builds, but it looks like he's been kind of specializing for one day of the competition. Today he's been playing mainly Dark Stars, it seems. And he's had some ups and downs, but overall, Tien's still been kind of consistent, just like very middle of the pack and hold it very steady, which is really important in TFT.
Yeah, I mean, and if you build something like a Runins, you really are kind of shouting to the world that you're going to go Dark Star, because there's not a lot of other compositions that use that Runins very effectively right now. So it does kind of show your hand a bit early on, maybe.
In Blasters, but it's like what you were saying before. It's not ideal. You would want to have a lot of other things before you want to choose Runins. But it's not the worst possible thing.
That's still a good item, but you know, kind of the nature of Blasters itself, spreading attacks across multiple targets, kind of makes you think, well, you know, I would rather have something aside from the Runins, you know, like a QSS out of the cloak or something for that matter.
Yeah.
Finds a Lucian. Is Lucian the solution though? Cybernetics is pretty good.
Yeah, just to help get some early game board presence here and like put that belt in case he finds red buff.
Yeah.
And if he does find red buff, and I don't know, there is a justification for him to start thinking about Brawler Blasters. It's a composition that I think is a little underrepresented today for how strong it is. Brawler Blaster seems to be doing very well, but it also could just be the fact that we're playing a tournament and people are trying to find the compositions to top 2 with, you know, to try to get those points.
You know, I've wondered about that lately, honestly, as we see Darius attempt to two Dariuses attempt to dunk Tien to death here. But I've been thinking about that because I feel like and I'm like, mid diamondish, like as far as the people in my lobby. And there's at least 2, if not more, Brawler Blaster players every single time, but very few Cybernetics players. And
oh my god, an early Jinx.
Oh yeah, and a Poppy too feels good on the tanky side of things. But good Blaster edition there goes level 5 and puts that in. But I think it's a reflection of the level of player, right? Where a Diamond, people still aren't like super great TFT players, so you're going to play something that is a little bit more easy to play as far as positioning, as far as like putting it online, like Blasters. Whereas something like Cybernetics that we see more of in this tournament over Blasters, it's something I think that requires a little bit better game knowledge and a little bit more finesse to play well.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but what a world we live in where being in the like 0.5 percentile, or the top 0.5 percentile is like, well, you're not like super great at the games. Like,
yeah, like it's I guess that's like the esports caster in me speaking, where it's like, yeah, man, you're a grandmaster, but like that's still a long way away from like a pro player, right?
Right. No,
So
the thing is, it's pretty true too. I would say that even just like each division within Diamond is like a pretty profound level of understanding that you would gain from
it is like Diamond is one of those ranks where, like you said, if you're Diamond 4, you're like the top 1%. If you're Diamond 3, you're like the top 0.4 to 0.6%, depending on the day. And if you're Diamond 1, suddenly you're like in the top 0.1%. So that's a pretty big shift in terms of like, I think, quality of play that you don't see in like some of the other ranks.
Yeah, totally.
Some of the other leagues, but it's fun.
Yeah. And it's like it's like maddening how easy it is for these guys to like, well, I played 30 games, so I guess I'll hit challenger now. It's like, what?
They are that good.
Yeah. Well, kind of focusing back in on this game, another Jinx, and he found a Giant Slayer. He's going for it. He's just going to go for a 2-star.
Why not, right?
Jinx, and I like this pivot.
I think this is great. I think it is a bit redundant, but it's not bad. It's still like a good amount of damage, especially with Giant Slayer, to have that on the Jinx. And he is suddenly very, very strong. 2 Brawler, 2 Blaster, but what a couple of blasters it is.
Yeah. Like I think it's entirely incorrect to actually throw double Nikos immediately onto Jinx, because you still have to see like what items that you get.
Yeah.
And you might just like, well, you have a Runins, but then you get like all these like non-Giant Slay, or sorry, non-Brawler Blaster items, and you just get completely screwed from that point on.
Yeah, I think the only thing to truly slam 2 Nikos on immediately is a 5 cost in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I mean, I also think doing it on Kale is great, and Irelia. But yeah, generally speaking, like saving it for Xerath and Misfortune and Echo is like really powerful. All right, so we already have one player kind of cementing their build, and I like it. Early commitment, and Tien really just remember, Tien all he has to do is like land top 4, and he's in. So he is cooking and should be at least. I'd be so surprised if Tien gets 8th this game and it goes to tiebreakers.
Yeah, seriously. All right. So we do have Kiyoon opting for a Mech Infiltrator again. He found the Morellos for Kaisai, which is a pretty clutch item. If you can't put the demo spat together, Morellos is the next best thing. And he's going to maybe start winning some rounds, but not this one.
Wow.
A little bit too much damage. Yeah. Down to 70 HP, 7th in the lobby, but that's still a good amount of health to play around with at only 3-2. It's not the end of the world.
Definitely not that big of a deal. If anything, it's totally okay. Kiyoon sort of needs to guarantee this next item is a glove. As long as the glove is available on Carousel, he should be able to get it. And so by losing that round, it puts him pretty guaranteed to pick first on the Carousel alongside Souless.
Yep.
Souless, who, by the way, is 56 life, not even close. It looks like he has lost every single round prior to this so far.
I mean, he is the player in this lobby that's really forcing one comp harder than anyone else. And as good as Dark Stars are, it is a kind of, again, we talk about the feast or famine effect a lot in TFT, where, just because something is consistent, when you force it, you always run the risk of having games where you just don't find it,
Yeah, but I mean, I think both these players are totally okay. Yes, they're at like way lower life totals than they would prefer to be, but
Mhm.
I think it's totally fine to be exactly at this life total at this stage.
It's fine for
Finds a
now.
glove. Now, if Solus rips that glove away from him, that'd be totally griefing. But Solus is he has bigger goals. He has loftier goals in his sight. If Solus wins
Yeah.
this lobby and Kiyoon and Khroen place poorly, then Solus will continue his 100% winning streak, and we'll have him for the third week in a row onto the winning interviews part of the show.
Hey, I mean, very, very few players out there deserve it more than Solus. He has been so good throughout this entire tournament.
Yeah, he's been the most consistent tournament player in set 3 so far, and
Yeah.
it's great to watch a stream for learning, but a little bit disheartening to see how easy it comes from him. Anyways, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna feel sorry for myself anymore. I promise.
Ha!
After that
Sure.
last comment.
I mean, and Solus obviously known as like a Dark Star player, but he's played mostly Dark Stars in the previous weeks, but he still does flex once in a while. He's played some Cybernetics. He's played a game of Void. He's even played a game of Star Guardians. So he does pivot when necessary. You know.
Yeah, yeah, and he is totally able to play other compositions as we saw. In the first week he won. He actually played 4 different compositions and won.
Yeah.
So it's totally capable.
Yep.
Either way, we're kind of Kiyoon finds the Kale early Kale, and I do like that early game Kale, but Kiyoon doesn't have the economy to roll just yet, so he's going to probably lose this round and the next round as well. So after this stage, where he gets this next round of items for the PVE rounds, Kiyoon is going to probably power spike then.
Would you consider throwing the Wukong in instead of the Kale? Honestly, he's not
I don't
giving you a
know.
whole
I think
lot.
I think what I really need is just the fizz.
Well, yeah, of course you need the fizz,
Yeah.
but like just in terms of making that particular board stronger,
Oh, that's a tough question. I don't
I would
think
consider
Wukong
it.
1 is particularly impressive. He seems actually he's kind of around that Soraka tier where like at 1 star he's not really great, but the synergies can be fantastic if used well.
Yeah. Oh, there's a fizz. Wrong shot, but it's in there. It's out there.
Yeah. Fizz does exist in the game. I'm sure that
Sometimes it feels
Solus
like
would
it
love to
doesn't.
show Kiyoon to prove it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nope.
so
Kiyoon takes this round.
the battle of the people who are lose streaking, and seems like Solus ended up losing, but Solus had his lose streak snapped.
Hmm.
Now he finds a Jin.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So
Important breakpoint.
yeah, now things seem to be a little bit online. Doesn't dedicate the QSS right away. Goes for the Trap Claw instead, actually. You could just put both on there, honestly.
Yeah, he wants to save that Quicksilver for the Xerath,
Sure.
but for now, the most important thing on his mind for Solus is how do I find my other 3 Dark Stars? He found Shaco. He would need Lux. Oh, found another Shaco off the box. That's fun. And then just needs to find Lux and
Jhin.
I believe Jarvan.
So he finds a second Jhin. Do you use a Nico's now to jump up to that Jhin 2? Or do you save it for the Xerath? I would be so tempted
You
to
save it
save
for the
it.
Xerath,
Yeah.
I think, every time.
Yeah.
The Jhin 2 is an important power spike because Jhin will shoot things and kill them, but
46 HP. That's the only concern I have.
it's okay, I think. It's still not like crisis mode. It's close. We're
Sure.
not there. Hey, the Wukong won.
Yeah, I mean, he gets Vanguard with that. He gets theoretically some crowd control if Wukong gets his ult off.
Right. I mean, Wukong 1 is better than Leona 1 by a pretty safe margin, but he didn't even get to cast his ability. You saw that,
No.
right? So pretty
Gross.
negligible in terms of his
Yeah,
effect.
2 Jhin 1s. Not going to be adding in enough damage to carry here.
Wow, selling the Mordekaiser. I don't even think he has a Mordekaiser 2. Oh boy, that did not pay off for Solus at all, and that's a really bad spot for him to be in. He's probably going to go for the fast 8 and roll down with like less than 30 life.
Yeah.
And that's scary because he needs a lot. He needs to find the 6 Dark Stars. He wants to find Xerath. And I guess it's okay to sell them more. It just goes to show you like the symptom of like how desperate he is to try to get every ounce of gold he can to try to roll down and find Xerath.
Mhm. Well, it's kind of like you know what your win condition is, right? Like Mord 2 is not going to do a lot for you right now, but finding a Xerath and immediately making it Xerath 2, that's, potentially a huge win streak you're going to find.
Oh, Wukong
Got
actually
the ult off that
activated.
time. Oh, the heal.
But the trap claw doesn't stop the Jhin from getting pulled the second time.
Yep.
And here we go.
Gotta roll now, right? It's gonna go level. It's time. Cassin 2 skips it. There's the Ashe 2, grabs that. Jhin 2 finds it. Couple more Jins.
Holy
Shaco, Lux, Thresh, but no Xerath.
He needs Jarvan or Xerath.
Oh, there's
why the Xerath? Why the Xerath?
Yeah, sell the Jhin. Yep.
Is this a
Okay.
first now?
Maybe. Yeah. Unique. All right. QSS. Get those items on there. Fast turnaround.
Wow, what a turnaround.
Hmm.
Huge turn here for Souless. And I think this is enough to push him into the top 4. That's powerful enough for it to happen.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Xerath 2 is just such an enormous power spike. I think the biggest power spike in the game right now is Xerath 1 to Xerath 2 as far as like damage boost goes on a single champion. Maybe I've always underestimated Xerath 1, but Xerath 2 just seems so obscenely strong.
Xerath 1 is still also really good. He clearly wants the bow, but
Sure.
is he going to instead go for this? Oh, cloak. Interesting. I thought he wanted to make the Rage Blade onto Xerath, but looks like he went for the cloak. So I must be overlooking a detail that he.
Well, he's got the ability to build another QSS, I believe. I think he's got another gloves, but he might want to pick that up for somebody who's not Xerath. But I guess we'll see later what. Well, I'm really curious to see what he wants to build that on.
I think he might just want Lulu as the unit because it is a Celestial.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And then he puts the QSS onto Lulu, maybe?
So, all right, that explains that mystery, and then we're going to see what ends up happening. But in the meantime, we're going to check out, Khroen back at it, banging once more, but
he's getting there.
Not looking as promising, and he might need to use the Nikos. He's just rolling down to see if he can avoid using it.
Yep. Finds a Master Yi 3, uses the Nikos. I think that's perfectly reasonable. Considering the power spike.
My favorite version of Master Yi is this. I actually like Ginsu's and Rapid Fire Cannon just because it's sick to watch Yi never have to move while he kills everything.
That is true. He just sort of becomes this turret. Machine gun turret, basically.
And what it actually allows, what I feel like it allows you to do is actually move Yi to the back row so you can start doing other fun shenanigans with him too. Yeah, it's exactly what he's doing right here.
Yep. All right.
And now Khroen probably has to figure out how to get to 7 without bleeding too much HP, but I think he's found the hard part is done. Master Yi 3 is completed, and you can see it's even a higher priority than Yasuo, even though Yasuo is much easier to get.
I think Yi is going to be your carry late game, I mean, so it's going to be the one you're going to rely the most on. I think it's interesting that we have the Zeeks again on Yasuo, actually. Really prioritizing that attack speed on the Master Yi. Just giving him as much as he possibly can, and he starts out with a lot.
What set is this? Is this Shadow Blade Master, Mystic Master Yi?
I think he somehow grabbed the 5-cost Master Yi from set 2.
Souless loses again. He just found 2-star Xerath and he just died. Or rather, he just lost the fight. Yeah, so Xerath, not enough to stop it. So when we go to 7, what do you usually like to add in here? There's a lot of ways you could actually go about this for the Bang Bros comp, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't played this comp as much, so I'm not as familiar with what you add in at the higher levels. I guess probably Brawler, maybe like a Vi or something.
Well, yeah. So Vi, you could play Brawlers sometimes, just like slapping a trigger out. Wow, another Rage Blade. That's pretty funny. Maybe I don't know actually what you can use with this. One thing that you you also can think about is if you want to go for Chrono and drop the Mystic. Even though it's kind of important to have that, like the Mystic isn't super duper important. Another thing that you can do is just try to go for Mystics, but that's also like, requires a couple of really like things to line up. You need to be able to find Lulu, and that's super hard.
He's really thinking about maybe putting the Rage Blade on Yasuo. Thinking about putting something on Karma just to give the shield a little bit more of a boost.
Yeah, just the rod onto Karma is okay. One thing that's actually been being explored, by the way, is if you find a death cap, who's like a really good user to capitalize on it in Dark Stars? And one answer is actually Karma, believe it or not. People would like most likely slam it onto Lux, and they wouldn't be wrong in doing something like that. But Karma is like secretly like one of the better units to use death cap in.
Well, he started to generate such a large shield, and I'm trying to remember if that buffs the attack speed buff that Karma gives too.
I believe it does.
I would think it does too, but I haven't buffed Karma with items very often, so
yeah. All right, so Khroen has decided to itemize the last slot on Yasuo. I'm not sure how to feel about it, but at the same time, it's not like he had better choices. He already has a Rage Blade on Mastery and is well outfitted.
So I think the trouble here is, to me, this doesn't look like a first place version of this comp. Part of it is Aurelia 3 just decimating him. By the way, there's an Aurelia 3 in the game. But he's got such a fragile version of the comp. No GA on Yasuo, no chain item on Master Yi. So kind of feeling like maybe a top 4 if you're lucky version of the comp.
The roll down here, trying to see if he can find the other units. He finds a Yasuo. If he finds one more Sona, oof.
Yeah, doesn't need that Kaisa. There's a Yasuo. Come on, keep going.
Commit.
Oh, not like this.
There it is.
Zone 3. All right. Yasuo 3. There it is. Wow, big upgrades come through. That might turn things around.
I mean, that's a significant power spike.
Yeah.
However, I wouldn't argue that that's like enough of a power spike that would like win him a battle, unless it's a lot closer. Sona 3 is great, but like they nerfed her for a reason, and she's not as powerful. But like Deis1k is getting crushed here, and that Yasuo 3, never mind, Yasuo 3 was crushing it.
Yeah, like I said, my only real worry for this comp is late game lacking those defensive items might come back to haunt him. But for now, it should be enough to get back on track. What's that?
Oh, and Kiyoon went out in 8th place.
Oh, wow, that's huge.
That Kiyoon out in 8th is such a big deal. He gets only 1 point. He is no longer eligible for top 8.
Wow, so close. He was so close. So I guess Delicious Milk just gets to play mech all he wants in the top 8 tomorrow.
Wow, I was not expecting Kiyoon to go out in 8th. That is crushing.
Yeah.
If Kiyoon had just gotten top 4, I think he would have made it.
Yeesh. Hurts bad. Wow, is that a GP already? With a GA I saw? As we saw some scouting from Souless.
Possibly. I think we did see somebody have something like that. But now Souless potentially on his last life as well, rolling down, finds Karma again.
People can't see me because of the game, but like I'm sitting exactly like Camilla is in the bottom of his right. That's my pose right now while I cast this game.
And
can Souless stay with
it? MismatchedSocks hits the 3-star Kassadin. Kiting
3-star Aurelia though.
This is one of those lobbies where like whoever places 7th, you're just gonna be like, how did you get 7th with this composition?
Yeah. And then you see the other stuff people had, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry. Crit from the Xerath.
Wow.
Ooh, wow, we beat it. Wow, that's amazing, actually.
The dodge from the gloves. He has 2 times a dodge because of crit glove, the Jewel Gauntlet and the Hand of Justice. And he dodged the Aurelia. Wow.
That's the thing. He's going to come back and do almost as much damage as that Aurelia is with a Jewel Gauntlet on Xerath too. So it's like a question of who one shots the other first.
So with Kiyoon exiting out, I do believe that Fluffy is now guaranteed to be in. And it really comes down to Shoju and Tien,
That would make
who
sense.
can get those last 2 spots.
All right.
Oh, they
so
polymorphed,
far,
but look at this Yi cut through everything. Soulless, he is out.
oh no, he's out.
Oh wow! How
So
often do you see that 0-2 at 4-3 and then you just die?
we have an update that at this point, Delicious Milk, Soulless, MismatchedSocks, Gunmei, Raditz, Fluffy, and Tien are confirmed for top 7. The only question now, can Khroen perform well enough to knock Soju out and claim that 8th spot in the final lobby?
And
Apparently,
Khroen
it's all
has
down to
to
Khroen
get
now.
how many points?
I don't know. I'm just reading what our producers have sent us.
Khroen is at 58 points and Soju's at 64. To get 6 points, you have to get 4th at least, because
Yep.
3rd is 7th and first is 10 points, 2nd is 8 points, 3rd is 7 points, and 4th is 6 points. So
Kane drops a Nico's and a spatula, but a Star Guardian Bangle is not going to help out KitingIsHard right now. That is rough.
Yeah, and I'm just doing some math here, and it's basically Khroen has to get top 3. Where he is exactly right now is how he guarantees a spot over Soju.
Apparently, if he gets 4th, we'd have to play a tiebreaker as well.
You'd have to play a tiebreaker.
Apparently. We'll see. There's a lot of math going on, and I'm always afraid to talk about it. Our producer says I don't hear it.
Spaghettio KitingIsHard with his Irelia 3. A lot of HP saved up for this stage of the game, but Agon with his Kale 2 can't really stand up to an Irelia 3 that's just one-shotting everything she touches.
Really 3 flitting like a butterfly.
2,000 damage? Khroen's down. He lost. He's down to 4 health.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, let's stay on board with Khroen now and see if he can pull it together. I mean, it's all coming true. The prophecy of trying to play this comp without tanky items on your Yi and your Yasuo.
He's greeding so hard too. He's
Yeah,
at 50 gold.
Dude, if Yasuo doesn't have GA, he's not going to get as much done in the late game. If Yi doesn't have a chain item, his sustain is going to be hurt so much.
Oh no, he's playing against the Irelia 3.
Yeah. This is where you just kind of shrug and you're like, Irelia 3.
Yeah, Khroen looks like he's gonna get denied here unless the match streak can pop off. Nope, not gonna do it.
Tried to go for that fourth,
he tied Soju. If he died half a second later, he would have been guaranteed 3rd, and he would have had the point advantage over Soju.
All right. We don't have to play any tiebreaker. There's rules to determine this, but Khroen does get 4th. We'll explain how everything works later. Let's see how the end of this game goes first.
Tien died right before Khroen, and then Khroen died right before Socks. It was down to the microseconds of who would actually advance. We'll tell you about the tiebreaker because we don't want to falsely declare something, have to take it back. But for now, it's a showdown between Agon and Kiting, 2 players who can't make it. And Agon, if Agon gets this win, at least he'll end his tournament on a high note.
Right.
As he was struggling a lot as he was dead last in points.
I'm happy for Agon to at least have a strong finish in his very last game here. It's rough, but you know, at least he got something. But you can't beat Irelia 3. Khroen's like, I need to look at the scores here.
Yeah, this is the point of the tournament where all the players are going to be like, how many points did I earn and whatnot. How can Agon turn around against his Irelia 3? I don't really think he can, quite honestly.
Yeah. Irelia 3, you know, people talk about win condition champions, and Irelia 3 is generally a win condition. As in, if you get this, you'll win the lobby.
Yes, and at the same time, I also have gotten Irelia 3 and still placed bottom 4, and I'm ashamed to admit it, but that's actually happened like the other day, so I'm not going to talk about it. I positioned awfully, and I ended
up in 7th, so it does happen.
I've positioned awfully for that, but the important thing is that Agon found the Bramble Vest to stop the perhaps the Aurelia from aggressing on him. He also has a Wukong 3. I just noticed that.
Oh, what?
What?
Oh, wow.
That's interesting. Wukong 3. I haven't seen that unit really come into play very often. That's cool.
Yeah, that's super rare. It's a Star Guardian Wukong as well. I guess he's got the tier for a little bit faster ultimate cast. So there's that.
Wukong
Lulu though.
Oh wow, just gets deleted by Aurelia anyways. I
Lulu
think
too as well.
I don't think Agon can do anything here. I think he's exhausted all of his options.
I mean, if you think about all the besides the Aurelia 3, he's got the Lulu 2 with the Shojins. He's got the Thresh bringing a Blitzcrank on for even more disruption. Now he's got another Lulu on the bench. Like it's the damage and sustain of the GA Aurelia 3 combined with just a lot of really great utility and crowd control. It's a really fantastic comp for KitingIsHard. And as close as you can come to unbeatable, which is crazy because there's an MF2 on the other side with pretty good items this time, actually.
Whew.
Huh. All right. Well, MF2, Thieves Gloves, do your best.
All right. Well,
that Wukong 3.
The Wukong 3 he's trying. And hey.
Oh, no.
All those polls finally paying off, and we finally have Agon getting his first win against Kiting.
Yeah, but if MF doesn't get red buff next time, what happens? You know, red buff Giant Slayer MF off the Thieves Gloves. Like, yeah, good luck recreating that.
Just sell the MF and play another MF.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Agon gets the Celestial Orb. Looks like he's determined to pick up every single spatula item in the game at this point.
Apparently, yeah. Can he actually get anything from that one, though? I don't know.
No, I think his last hope is that he has 7 KOs. He has 4 on the bench and 3 on the board. And if he can get 2 more KOs, that might be Agon's last hope.
How much gold does he have, though?
It didn't look like he was having. He didn't look like he had any gold. I think he rolled it all the way down.
That makes it difficult to roll, having 0 gold.
I am inclined to agree.
Yeah. So trying to, like you've said in the past, curate the Thresh pulls, Lulu and Blitzcrank do the very best to pull off the bench. And who gets the Hex Tech? Just double Hex Tech on Echo. Otherwise,
yeah, I think that's entirely fine.
I think it's funny they both have useless Star Guardian Bangles in this game.
Okay, the final potential battle here. And that's a souped up Echo. Actually, I'm not gonna be surprised if Echo just like almost deletes every unit. Well, any unit that survives the Aurelia onslaught, that is.
That's what I was wondering. He heals so much from his ultimate. And that's the end of the game. GG. Spectacular Thieves Gloves items on MF. Keep Agon alive for a little bit. But it's gonna be KitingIsHard taking the final game, despite, I believe, missing out on the top 8 overall. But finishing on a high note, Agon as well taking second. That does do it. So now, Frodan, we have some explaining to do, don't we? As far as like what happens now. And so I will just read to you as we look at the results of the moment. I will read to you what we have been told by our producers. So the first tiebreaker that we use is the player with the most first place finishes wins the tie out of the 2 players who have even points. The second tiebreaker is determined by the player with the lowest average placement. And then the third tiebreaker is the player with the lower placement in their last game.
Right.
And so what does that mean?
Rule set, very similar to, I believe, what we use for TwitchCon. And yeah, like it just to incentivize people who play for like first and also who are more consistent. And I don't even remember Soju winning a lobby. I think he got really far, but I do remember Khroen winning a lobby. So it makes me feel like Khroen might have won the tiebreaker, maybe.
Let me look. So Khroen may, and I didn't start tracking from the very beginning, but he did second place in a lobby. And who else is it going to be? Let's see. We're waiting for the answer here as we wait to see what the final standings will be. Coming down to the wire for that 8th spot in the final lobby tomorrow.
Soju hasn't won a single lobby. I looked over the results, but I don't. Soju's placed top. So with that, I believe Khroen will be the 8th person in. This graphic indicates that maybe Soju has won the tiebreaker, but Khroen would be the one squeezing in.
Khroen apparently does have more first places than Soju. So he has a single first place, which is more than Soju's no first places in the tournament. So by virtue of that, Khroen does, despite the graphics, sneak in to the top 8,
Oh,
it looks
wow.
like. And poor Soju knocked out the very last moment.
There's something very poetic about like the idea that Khroen played Bang Bros like almost every lobby today and then knocked out Soju with a tiebreaker. That's pretty amazing.
Wow. Just trusting in the comp, trusting in the rerolls. We're gonna get Khroen in here for a post-match interview to see what his thoughts are.
Oh,
Khroen,
no.
are you there? No, he's not there yet. It's ringing.
Hello, hello?
He's out like doing a victory lap around the block or something right now, I think.
Hello, hello.
Oh, there he is. Khroen,
Hey, how's it
you
going?
made it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did you know you made it the moment the game ended? Because it was kind of a crazy finish at that end.
Yeah, no, I did not. I was thinking I didn't make it because I thought I had to at least get like top 2 there because I didn't go and look at every single one of the scores because all the placements throughout tonight affected it as well. I was just basically in my mind saying I just have to go play for first place and see how it goes. And 3 people died. I'm like, what the hell? I missed out in third by like 0.1 seconds. If that makes my difference, then so be it. But no, I mean, happy to have made it barely in a tiebreaker. Sucks to have to, take it away from Soju, my teammate, but I guess that's how it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. But what made you really convinced to play the Yasuo Master Yi Bang Bros composition that you kind of like felt like you were honing in on for most of the night?
Yeah, definitely during the last couple of games, yeah, I played that. I was I mean, my thought process in the meta, and a lot of people's thought process in the meta right now is that reroll comps are just really freaking good. Like, you have to play the game either like perfectly or near perfectly, or just like high roll to be able to, have high placements or win with other comps as well. But you could just play reroll and it's just as strong, if not stronger. So I wanted to maybe either play Space Jam or Slash Bros going into today, and it turns out people wanted to go Space Jam between kiting and whoever was contesting kiting. So I decided to fall back on that comp, and it worked out, I guess.
I guess
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Also, we were kind of talking about how the night was full of surprises. Was there anything that kind of surprised you based off the performance? It was like perhaps, were you expecting certain things or not expecting certain things that happened?
I mean, I was expecting a few people to go certain comps. Like I was expecting Solus to go Dark Stars like every game, and I mean, for me, honestly, the biggest wild card for me was kiting. I wasn't sure like what exactly kiting was gonna do, and then we both wanted to go. First game, we both wanted to go Space Jam. We both like, "Oh, we're going it. Okay, good luck. We're testing each other." We both pivoted out, so I think that was pretty unexpected for me. I thought he was gonna be pretty firm on him going Space Jam, but
Yeah.
turns out he's a pivoter and I am too, so we're both marked. But
You
yeah.
gotta know when to
Kiting
pivot.
was he actually ended 1 point right behind you, by the way. So that first place made it real close. He's also
Yeah.
molding in chat right now. Just like
So
A lot of specific things had to
Sorry.
happen for these standings, but yeah.
damn the savage there, man.
Brutal.
So
Absolutely.
we've got a new patch coming soon, 10.9. So tomorrow night, the final lobby going to be the final real tournament on this patch. So looking ahead, what do you think is going to be stronger, weaker? What's your like broad strokes lay of the land for 10.9 in your opinion?
For 10.9, I mean, a lot of things are getting nerfed, and it's hard to say exactly what's going to be the strongest of those nerfs, but I do look at Rebels, and especially the Aurelion Soul changes, and I think that Rebels might actually come back to be pretty prevalent. I don't think quite as prevalent as the initial, like, 6 people getting Rebels every single game, but yeah, definitely looking at Rebels to be very, very strong. And reroll comps hopefully are going to not be as prevalent because there's a lot of changes to rolling specific units at that level, or the percentages of rolling that cost unit at levels. So I think that should be healthy for the meta, hopefully. And I know that was the goal there.
Yeah, no more 40%, I think, for anything at any level, if I recall. Look at the
Yeah,
patch notes today.
I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, I mean, that's all the questions that we have. So, definitely it's been a long night, and you have to play tomorrow, so we're not going to hold you too much longer. But is there any last words you want to say before we sign off here?
I mean, it's been a pleasure competing in this tournament, and I'm excited to be able to advance to the top 8 tomorrow. Thank you to you guys for casting. Thank you everyone who's helped put this production on. Thank you to Cloud9, of course, and all of our sponsors, and a special shout out to Risa because she's great and made this whole thing a reality. So
You're so nice, Khroen. You're awesome.
Yeah. Very classy, as always.
Thank
Meanwhile,
you.
Kiting is sitting in the kitchen of fire saying, "This is fine." He's more like the Elmo in Hellfire right now.
Oh, no.
Poor guy.
Sure.
Sorry,
All right.
dude.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Khroen.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Have a good night. And so we will see Khroen tomorrow in the final lobby, which is pretty sick. So I suppose we'll take a look in a moment who is going to be in that final lobby. We kind of already know, but we'll get up on the screen for you here. But
yeah, so we can just read based
there it
off
is.
the
Yeah.
standing finish. But yeah, we have Delicious Milk first, playing the mech infiltrator, already spamming in chat at Mort, and he's going to be playing 5 mechs tomorrow. So looking forward to that. And then Souless, MismatchedSocks, and Gunmay rounding out our top 4.
Yeah. So should be a really cool top 4. I mean, it is stacked, and I am happy to see players like Raditz and Fluffy not get knocked out, stay in. They've been consistent and some of the more entertaining players, I think, to watch. But we've got really like a huge range of play styles in this top 8, don't we? Where we have the ultimate no scout, no pivot, single comp mech player in Delicious Milk, 2 other players like Tien, Raditz, that are willing to play a lot of different stuff in one night and just be very adaptive, quote unquote, adapt.
Yeah, it's going to be like an interesting send off to another like era within the set. Like 10.9 is going to usher in like a very different game once more. And I think that's what makes TFT very exciting. It's constantly evolving and changing. But very similar to how a couple patches ago we fundamentally changed player damage, it's going to be very similar in that I think we're going to have to approach the game differently once more, which is exciting to see. So, basically who has full grasp and mastery over this current patch and game system, we'll find out tomorrow.
Yep, that's right. So on that note, that's it for the last night of group play for Giant Slayer series. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks to juke.gg for sponsoring the tournament, ! GSS. Real quick in chat to get that page where you can go watch all the players' point of views, watch the VODs as well. If you missed a game today, want to go back and watch it, that's your ticket. Thanks to them for sponsoring. And also go visit the site, find a lot of esports to watch, because there's a lot out there right now. Obviously, we're all hanging out at home, putting on esports stuff. But one more night of Giant Slayer series to go. As always, thanks to you guys for watching. Thanks to Frodan for being an awesome co-caster. And we will see you guys tomorrow night for the finale, for the grand finals lobby of Giant Slayer series. It's going to be sick. We'll see you then.